Chapter 28-22. Did you burn Emperor Panga's bloodline? But it's useless. From today onwards, Emperor Panga's bloodline will be completely cut off. The heavenly curse master sneered. Rumble. The curse scepter fell from the sky like a surging black sea. The terrifying curse origin source was silent, but it contained the power to destroy everything. It was going to drown the Panga's celestial body and the white dragon horse. Ling Xiao, aren't you going to make a move? I'm going to be beaten to death. Hurry up and kill this old thing and take his cursed scepter as compensation for my mental state. The white dragon horse suddenly roared towards the sky. Its voice was extremely anxious. It was furious. Although it couldn't see the situation in the war god temple, it was sure that Ling Xiao was watching the battle from the war god temple. It wanted nothing more than to ruthlessly kick Ling Xiao's handsome face a few times. This bastard always liked to make a move at the most critical moment just to show off. Ling Xiao? Even if he appears, it won't change anything. You're still going to die. The heavenly curse master sneered. Is that so? At this moment, a faint voice sounded in the void. Buzz. From the huge barrier of the war god shrine, a resplendent sun suddenly shot out. It was surrounded by endless golden light and shrouded in chaotic mist. Thousands of strands of order and divine light pierced through the layers of darkness and dispersed the surging curse origin energy. Then, it violently collided with the curse scepter. It was an enormous fist that was peerlessly ferocious, domineering, and fierce. It was coiled with an eternal and indestructible aura, and it even held an ancient stone tablet. It smashed through the sky in an extremely violent manner, and it was fierce to the extreme. Rumble. In the void, the extreme emperor's aura gushed out. The cursed scepter trembled violently as if hundreds of millions of thunderbolts had exploded at the same time. The cursed scepter was sent flying. Ling Xiao. The heavenly curse master's eyes surged with killing intent and his face instantly turned ugly. The scepter of curses flew back and floated above his head. It spat out the power of curses, but it was in vain. And the one who stopped him was Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao wielded heaven's might like a prison monument and unleashed a ferocious punch that broke the heavenly curse lord's killing blow. Rumble. Ling Xiao stepped out from the war god shrine. His aura surged and emitted a resplendent light. His black hair fluttered and his aura was incomparably sharp. He stepped through the air as if he was pushing the sun, moon, and stars. His entire being emitted an invincible aura. The moment Ling Xiao appeared, it was as if he instantly became the focal point of the world. Heavenly Curse Sect? A group of rats hiding in the dark dares to behave atrociously in my war god temple? Ling Xiao stared at the heavenly curse master. His eyes were indifferent, but his voice boomed like thunder in the void. He didn't hide it at all. The aura around him was terrifying to the extreme. He shot up into the sky like a divine rainbow. His cultivation of the celestial venerable realm was completely displayed in front of everyone. Was this the heaven's chosen one, Ling Xiao? A short 200 years, time actually let him cultivate to the realm of Empyrean. Truly too horrifying. Someone exclaimed and sucked in a breath of cold air. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao and felt a vast aura surging toward them. It was like the brilliance of the heavens. They couldn't help but feel a sense of reverence. Many people had heard of Ling Xiao but had never seen him before. Now that they had seen him, they couldn't help but admire his peerless bearing. Such a person was truly worthy of being the heaven's chosen one. Unfortunately, why did he have to become sworn enemies with the various immortal sacred grounds to the point where they would fight to the death? Many people's eyes were filled with regret. Ling Xiao, you still dare to come out? No matter how strong your combat strength is, you'll be reduced to ashes today along with the war god shrine. The heavenly curse master said coldly with a trace of killing intent in his eyes. He had never fought with Ling Xiao before, so he didn't take Ling Xiao seriously. However, Ling Xiao's punch made him feel extremely threatened. Reduced to ashes? I'm not sure if I'll be reduced to ashes, but I'm afraid you won't be able to see it. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Rumble. Blazing golden light rose around him as his fighting spirit gushed out. He charged toward the heavenly curse master with a mighty purple aura that covered a distance of 30,000 miles. At the same time, the heaven's might was ancient and mysterious. It soared in the void like a mountain and suddenly pressed down on the heavenly curse master. Ling Xiao, you're about to die. How dare you be so arrogant? When the experts from the immortal sacred grounds arrive, you'll definitely die. Get lost. The heavenly curse master's face changed and his eyes were filled with gloomy killing intent. He instantly soared into the sky with the cursed scepter in his hand. Powerful emperor's might gushed out as the cursed scepter swung toward the heaven's might. Rumble. When the cursed scepter hit the heaven's might, the emperor's might exploded and swept out like a chain of order, causing the void to tremble violently. Even Ling Xiao and the heavenly curse master were no match for the power of the extreme path. They were sent flying. Ling Xiao's expression was indifferent. He stepped into the void and charged toward the heavenly curse master again. It was fine if Ling Xiao did not make a move, but once he made a move, it was like a tsunami, containing an unfathomable pressure. The heavenly curse lord felt as if he had been locked down by Ling Xiao. He felt cold all over and his heart palpitated. He clenched his teeth, unleashed his strongest cultivation, and charged towards Ling Xiao. As the sacred master of the heavenly curse sect and a veteran heavenly venerable, he was extremely powerful. Not only had he comprehended the heavenly curse scripture, but he had also cultivated several powerful emperor techniques. Ordinary heavenly venerables were no match for him. Ling Xiao's domineering words made it seem as if he was already dead. The heavenly curse master was infuriated and his fighting spirit and killing intent surged. The heavenly curse master murmured something and a strange sound wave spread out. The space around him twisted and black fog gushed out. In an instant, it looked like a black dragon. It swept across the space and pounced on Ling Xiao. The power of curse? Interesting. A gleam of light flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. He could sense that while the black mist seemed extremely clear, it did not seem to exist in this place. It was like the laws of the world had manifested. It was unaffected by any power and directly surged into Ling Xiao's body. That was the power of curse. The Tao of curse used talismans and incantations to communicate with the great Tao of heaven and earth and perform unfathomable remarkable powers. Just like the Pangu celestial body and the white dragon horse, they could not resist the power of curse. Apex. Chapter 28-23. Boom. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by a purple aura. His body was crystal clear like a divine kingdom and filled with an immortal glow. He didn't dodge the attack at all. Instead, he walked towards the heavenly curse lord and punched the air. He had no intention of dodging the power of the curse. When the strange black fog touched Ling Xiao's body and tried to enter, it was blocked by a bright and translucent light. Then it melted like snow. Ling Xiao's ferocious fist was extremely sharp as it blasted towards the heavenly curse lord's head. The void shattered. The heavenly curse lord's expression changed. He didn't expect his extremely strange curse technique to be ineffective against Ling Xiao. It couldn't even break Ling Xiao's body. There was no way for him to dodge Ling Xiao's punch. His body shook violently and he was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Ling Xiao's unparalleled fist force surged into the heavenly curse lord's body. The heavenly curse lord's meridians and bones seemed to be shattered. Ling Xiao's body was invincible. The heavenly curse lord couldn't withstand his unparalleled fist force. Monarch Yun Tu and the five elements Saint Lord's expressions changed when they saw the heavenly curse lord being heavily injured from the first exchange. Their eyes were filled with solemnity. The heavenly punishment saber and the five elements cauldron shone with dazzling light as if they wanted to support the heavenly curse lord. Ha! Ling Xiao, little kid, not bad. You're worthy of being a member of the War God Hall. Hurry up and kill the heavenly curse lord. Don't worry about these two old things. They won't be able to interfere with you. Celestial Master Zhanfeng laughed heartily. His attacks were overbearing and sharp. He fought fiercely with Monarch Yun Tuesday. Each of his punches and moves contained a demonic aura. Monarch Yun II was in a passive position and couldn't escape in a short time. Liu Bai also held the Heavenly Emperor's seal and blocked the 5 elements Saint Lord. The Heavenly Emperor's seal collided with the 5 elements cauldron in the air. Every strike was like a tsunami, erupting with destructive energy waves. Damn it! Monarch Yun II and the 5 elements Saint Lord's expressions were extremely ugly. They looked at each other and their eyes were filled with shock and anger. The 3 immortal holy lands were the vanguard. Previously, they had agreed that the 3 immortal holy lands would be the first to act. They would seal the War God Hall and prevent the War God Hall's people from escaping. They would also set up the 12 Capital Heaven Divine Fiend formation. But what they didn't expect was that not only did the people from the War God Temple not wait for death, they actually dared to take the initiative to attack. They didn't put the 3 holy lands in their eyes at all. Exalted Celestial Masters of Wind and Lightning, help the Heavenly Curse Master kill Ling Xiao. Monarch Yun II suddenly roared. Rumble! Suddenly, the space in the distance shattered, and 2 figures with terrifying auras came through the air, directly pouncing towards Ling Xiao. 9 Imperial Obelisks, Celestial Venerable Wind and Celestial Venerable Thunder. They had been hiding in the dark. Now that Monarch Yun II had spoken, they attacked without hesitation. Celestial Masters of Water and Fire, help the Heavenly Curse Master kill Ling Xiao. The 5 elements Saint Lord also shouted. In the distance, an old man in a red robe and an old man in a black robe came through the air. Blazing divine light rose around them, containing the great Tao of fire and water. They were also 2 celestial masters, and they charged towards Ling Xiao. Ha! Ling Xiao, do you really think you can kill me? Exalted Celestial Master of Wind and Lightning, show yourself. Today we will kill Ling Xiao first. The Heavenly Curse Master suddenly laughed coldly. Terrifying auras surged around him, and black divine chains of order appeared in the air, wrapping around Ling Xiao. At the same time, 2 celestial masters appeared behind the Heavenly Curse Master. Rumble! In an instant, 6 celestial masters arrived at the same time and joined the Heavenly Curse Master. They vaguely surrounded Ling Xiao. Their gazes were like lightning, and their expressions were cold and filled with murderous intent. It turned out that the 3 immortal sanctuaries did not send 3 celestial masters this time, but 9 celestial masters. The 7 celestial masters, led by the Heavenly Curse Master, all exuded a vast and terrifying aura that locked onto Ling Xiao. This 7 celestial masters are besieging Ling Xiao. Are they going to kill Ling Xiao now? Someone exclaimed in surprise. You have underestimated Ling Xiao. So what if they are 7 celestial masters? In the Samsara Temple, 8 celestial masters besieged Ling Xiao, but they were all killed by him. Someone who was still full of confidence in Ling Xiao sneered coldly. It's different this time. The Heavenly Curse Master has the Cursed Scepter, an ultimate emperor weapon. Although Ling Xiao is strong, how can he withstand the siege of so many celestial masters? Someone retorted. Everyone's expression became incomparably grave. They could vaguely sense that a great battle was about to erupt before the various immortal holy lands had gathered. Ling Xiao looked at the 7 celestial masters and smiled faintly. You want to kill me with just 7 celestial masters? I'm afraid you guys are just daydreaming, right? Don't hide anymore. Those who are hiding in the dark can all come out now. Ling Xiao looked at the void in the distance. His eyes were bright and sharp. He could sense that there were extremely obscure auras in the void. Although they were concealed, Ling Xiao could still sense them. The people from the immortal sanctuaries must have gathered. Rumble! As soon as Ling Xiao finished speaking, the sky exploded. Endless divine light gushed out and chaotic mist surged. A huge door seemed to have appeared in the sky. Figures with terrifying auras appeared in the sky, causing the void to tremble violently. The powerful auras were like heavenly sovereigns. As soon as they appeared, the great path of heaven and earth trembled and resonated with them. Everyone felt a great pressure. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably, and their hearts palpitated. The Hua tribe, the Samsara Temple, the Space-Time Heavenly Gate, the Annihilation Temple, the Darkness Heavenly Sect. The 5 immortal sanctuaries and the monarch tribes have all arrived. Someone glanced at the void and trembled all over. Even his voice was trembling. Figures with terrifying auras appeared in the void. They released powerful auras without restraint. They intertwined with each other as if they were going to reopen the heavens and earth and recreate the chaos. The 5 great factions were clearly separated. They all rushed out of the void and appeared in the sky above the war god hall. The 5 immortal sanctuaries and the monarch tribes had turned out in full force. There were a total of 5,000 saints, 500 saint kings, and 15 celestial masters. The 5 figures in the lead looked cold, and their eyes were like lightning. They all held extreme Tao Emperor weapons in their hands. Their auras were terrifying and they exuded domineering energy fluctuations. The lords of the 5 great sanctuaries had all arrived, especially the Samsara master who was in the middle. Ling Xiao felt a strong sense of threat. An emperor? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply, and his gaze fell on the Samsara master. Chapter 28-24. The master of Samsara was a middle-aged man in a black robe. He was tall and handsome, and his face was dignified and cold. As he blinked, a mysterious scene of the reincarnation of all living beings seemed to appear. He stepped on the void, and his body seemed to be able to hold up the sky. He contained a terrifying energy fluctuation as if an ancient great emperor had been reborn. His aura was monstrous and he ruled over all living beings. Ling Xiao felt an aura from him that was different from that of a celestial master. It was the power of the origin of the Great Path. The origin of the Great Path was also the extremity of the Great Path. An imperial emperor. The Samsara master was already an expert in the imperial emperor realm. He exuded a vast and oppressive power, as if the entire world was pressing down on Ling Xiao. The master of Samsara has broken through to the imperial emperor realm? Ling Xiao is dead for sure, and the war god temple is destined to be wiped out. An imperial emperor who has touched the supreme divine realm. Who in this world can fight against him? Someone exclaimed. His voice was trembling, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The Chinese and the 7 immortal Holy Lands had all come. The 8 superpowers were determined to kill Ling Xiao and destroy the war god temple. Therefore, they had sent out 24 celestial masters, more than 600 saint kings, and close to 10,000 sages. With such a terrifying number, it could be said that the 8 superforces had turned out in full force. Such a terrifying force was enough to start a fierce war with the demon clan. Now, these people had come to deal with the war god temple and Ling Xiao. You are Ling Xiao? You are indeed ambitious. You have great strength, but you don't want to repay the human clan. Instead, you dare to stir up trouble and kill the experts of the human clan. Scum like you don't deserve to be the chosen one of the human clan. Today is the day you die. The master of Samsara said indifferently. His eyes were deep and contained a cold, killing intent. His voice rumbled in the void like thunder. It contained a vast heavenly might, causing the surrounding people to turn pale and their hearts to palpitate. How ridiculous! Do you have to find so many dignified reasons to kill me? 200 years ago, I won the Heavenly Tao Fate in the Heaven's Choice Convention and became the Heaven's chosen child. You greedy people conspired for my wordless Heavenly Book and Heavenly Tao Fate, besieging me in the Ling Xiao mountain range. At that time, you framed me as a spy of the demon race. 200 years have passed, but it seems that you haven't made any progress. Ling Xiao sighed softly, his eyes filled with mockery. Ling Xiao, you are about to die, and you still dare to quibble? 200 years ago, you slaughtered the geniuses of the human clan in the Chosen One meeting. Hua Ziang and Hua Tianqiong were killed by you. If you hadn't used such despicable means, do you think you're worthy of being the Chosen One? The head of the Hua clan sneered. He was wearing a luxurious purple robe and looked extraordinarily heroic. His purple hair was tied up with a jade crown and his entire body was emitting an unfathomable aura. Runes rose around him, as if there were mysterious scenes of formations being created and destroyed, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. That's right. Ling Xiao, what makes you worthy of being the chosen one of the human clan? 200 years ago, you didn't repent and killed many experts of the immortal sanctuary. 10 days ago, you killed Hua Dijie, wreaked havoc in the Samsara temple, and killed 8 holy masters. How are you any different from the demon clan? The sacred lord of the space-time heavenly sect, an old man with white hair and a horsetail whisk, said coldly. Hua Dijie is the chosen one of the god realm. When he grows up in the future, he will be the hope of fighting against the demon clan. There are also 8 holy masters. How many demon clan experts can they kill on the battlefield in the future? Ling Xiao, are you so vicious that you destroyed the pillar of the human clan? Today, we are enforcing justice on behalf of the human clan and killing a scum like you. The sacred lord of the darkness heavenly sect sneered. Scum like you? What right do you have to be the chosen one of the human clan? What right do you have to possess the wordless heavenly book? Today you will die. Ling Xiao, surrender quickly if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, when you fall into our hands, we will make you beg for death. Combat God Hall, you are in cahoots with Ling Xiao. Do you still want to resist? Don't think that a broken chaotic heavens battle formation can stop us. The holy masters of the 8 superforces sneered. Baleful auras rose from their bodies, and their eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. In their opinion, there was no doubt about the outcome of this battle. Although Ling Xiao was powerful, there were 24 holy masters and a peerless emperor like the reincarnation master. Moreover, the 8 superforces had brought along the supreme emperor weapon that was used to protect the fate of the world. Not to mention that Ling Xiao was only a heavenly venerate. Even if Ling Xiao had broken through to the imperial lord realm, he would still be able to suppress Ling Xiao without any suspense. The words of the Samsara master and the Chinese patriarch were full of righteousness, as if Ling Xiao was an unpardonable devil that everyone had the right to kill. The white dragon horse, Pangdianggang, holy master Zhanfeng, and the others were furious. Even Lu Bai, who had a calm temperament, could not help but turn ashen at this moment. Anger and killing intent surged in his eyes. These immortal holy lands still had such repulsive faces. They coveted Ling Xiao's heavenly luck and the wordless heavenly book. They were clearly acting like bandits, but they pretended to be enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens, acting righteous and occupying the moral high ground. Wow. This is so infuriating. I have never seen such shameless people. You bunch of hypocrites, do you really think you can shut the mouths of the people in the world? The white dragon horse was so angry that it trembled and roared. You despicable and shameless people, stop talking nonsense. You are disgusting. If you want to kill Ling Xiao and destroy the combat god Hall, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Holy Master Zhanfeng was so angry that he trembled. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He exuded a crazy fluctuation as if he was ready to attack at any time. Only Ling Xiao looked extremely calm. He had seen the ugly faces of these immortal sacred lands 200 years ago. They wanted to be a bitch, and yet they wanted to be chaste. Samsara Master, do you really think you can kill me? Ling Xiao looked at the Samsara Master and said flatly, "Of course. I can't think of any reason why you can still live. Including you, there are only 3 holy masters in the combat god Hall. The others are not worth mentioning. Do you think you can still put up a fight with the chaotic celestial battle formation and 2 supreme emperor weapons?" The Samsara Master said flatly. His eyes were cold. Chapter 28-25. Master of Samsara, you immortal sacred lands are really shameless. The Chinese and the 7 immortal sacred lands attacked me at the same time. You really think highly of me? You keep saying that you want to kill me. Do you dare to fight me fairly? Don't implicate the War God Temple. They are innocent. Let's fight to the death. Ling Xiao sighed softly. His eyes were extremely sharp as he looked directly at the Master of Samsara. Don't you think it's too late to not implicate the War God Temple at this time? Ling Xiao, you are too naive. Is there any fairness in this world? Is there any innocence? Everything is false. Only power is eternal. The War God Temple did nothing wrong, But because of you, you implicated the war god temple. Therefore, the war god temple will be destroyed because of you. The master of Samsara said coldly. His eyes were filled with cruelty. Do you mean that I have a grudge against all of you? If I have enough power, I can kill all of you? Ling Xiao said calmly. That's right. If you have the power of a supreme emperor, you can kill all of us with one word. At that time, your words will be the truth, and everyone will have to abide by them. But unfortunately, you are not strong enough. You are too weak. Weakness is a sin. It is a sin for a weak person to possess a treasure. That is a sin. The master of Samsara said to Ling Xiao in an inaudible voice with a hint of mockery in his eyes. He had said so much because he hoped to see panic, fear, and pleading in Ling Xiao's eyes. He hoped that Ling Xiao would kneel in the face of death and beg him to spare his life. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. He did not see what he wanted to see. Ling Xiao's eyes were still very calm. That calmness even made him feel uneasy. You are right. Weakness is a sin. In this world, the strong are respected. I only wanted to kill the culprit and not implicate the innocent. But unfortunately, because of you, not only will you die, but the 8 superpowers will also be destroyed. Ling Xiao said seriously. You want to kill us? You want to destroy the Chinese and the 7 immortal sacred lands? Ling Xiao, are you dreaming? Pa. The Samsara master laughed loudly. His eyes were filled with incomparable coldness. Cold, killing intent surged around him. Although it did not achieve the effect he had expected, it seemed that Ling Xiao was not going to give up without a fight. Since that was the case, he would personally take action and completely destroy all of Ling Xiao's hopes and wishful thinking. He would make Ling Xiao sink into the abyss of hell and never be reincarnated. Rumble. Just then, the void shook violently. A ray of sword light shot through the sky, carrying with it a destructive force that was terrifying to the extreme. It is the greatest shame of the human race to have selfish scums like you. If you want to kill Ling Xiao, you'll have to get through me first. A sharp and bright voice rang out, like the clanging of a sword. 2 figures appeared in the void. One was an old man in a black robe with an unfathomable aura. The other was a young man in a black robe. Although his appearance was ordinary, the sharp sword intent that he emitted caused everyone's hearts to tremble. It's the invincible king, Dugu Qiubai. Someone exclaimed, recognizing the young man in a black robe. He was one of the kings of the gods in recent years, the invincible king, Dugu Qiubai. It's not just Dugu Qiubai. The old leader of the Hero Alliance, Dugu Ju, is here too. The Hero Alliance is here to rescue Ling Xiao and the War God Temple? Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. The Hero Alliance could be said to be both good and evil in the god world. Most of their activities were in the battlefield of the gods and demons. They had killed many experts of the demon race, but they were viewed as enemies by many immortal sanctuaries. The Hero Alliance had become stronger over the years, but they were still lacking compared to the immortal sanctuaries. However, the old leader of the Hero Alliance, Dugu Ju, was a super expert. He was an old monster in the Heavenly Master realm. His strength was unparalleled, and he protected the members of the Hero Alliance from being killed by the immortal sanctuaries. More importantly, after Dugu Ju abdicated, the new leader was Dugu Qiubai, who was known as the Invincible King. Ever since he came into being, he had experienced countless battles and competed with many geniuses. He had never lost a single battle, which was why he was known as the Invincible King. Senior Dugu? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he looked surprised. He did not expect Dugu Qiubai to come to his rescue at this time, and it warmed his heart. Dugu Qiubai's sword will had become purer and sharper after 200 years. Ling Xiao could feel that Dugu Qiubai's cultivation had reached the level of a supreme holy king. He was only one step away from becoming a celestial master. These despicable hypocrites, I have long hated them. Do you think you can defeat my brother? At this moment, another burst of hearty laughter rang out in the air. An extremely chubby young man in tattered robes broke through space and arrived. It was just that his face looked very ugly, the kind of ugliness that could shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. It was simply too horrible to look at. However, there was a sense of pride between his brows, and his entire body emitted an aura of supremacy. Heavenly King Ling Yiliangchen? That jinx is here too? Someone exclaimed, and his eyes were filled with fear. When the crowd saw Yi Liangchen, they could not help but back off, fearing that they would not be able to get close to Yi Liangchen. When the Chinese saw Yi Liangchen, their eyes turned red, and they were filled with murderous intent and hatred. Yi Liangchen was the murderer of Hua Xiong. The Chinese did not expect Yi Liangchen to not hide, and he even dared to come to Ling Zhao's rescue. Rumble. After Yi Liangchen appeared, several figures with powerful auras appeared in the sky. Dao Lord Extermination from the Supreme Dao Palace had arrived, and he had brought along 2 heavenly masters, dozens of king sages, and thousands of sages. Their auras covered the sky, and their domineering auras covered the sky. Other than the people from the Supreme Dao Palace, there was a woman in golden armor with a halberd in her hand. She looked valiant, and her entire body was emitting golden light. Her face was extremely beautiful, and her entire body was emitting a powerful battle intent. Behind her was an old woman in a black robe. She was extremely old, and her entire body was emitting a lethargic aura. However, her aura was extremely terrifying. She was also a heavenly master. Dao Lord Extermination is here? Did the Supreme Dao Palace choose to stand with the War God Temple and fight side by side at this time? Look at that woman in golden armor. She is the young master of the Golden Emperor clan, Yi Qingqing. The Golden Emperor clan is also involved? Everyone was discussing animatedly, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. Originally, they thought that Ling Xiao and the War God Temple had fallen into a desperate situation. They did not expect that in the blink of an eye, someone would come to help. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 28-26. The Taishang Dao Palace and the War God Temple had always been allies. Although their relationship had been a little strange in the past 200 years, it was related to the survival of the War God Temple. Everyone was filled with emotions when they saw the Dao Lord Extermination come to their aid. However, the Golden Emperor clan had always lived in seclusion and had nothing to do with the War God Temple. Why would they come to the War God Temple's aid? Samsara Master, you've already broken through to the Imperial Emperor realm. Why are you still staying in the Divine World? It's fine if you don't go to the extraterritorial battlefield, but how dare you interfere in the conflict of the Divine World? Aren't you afraid of being punished by Lord Kunwu? The Dao Lord Extermination stared at the Samsara Master and said coldly, "The 12 immortal sacred grounds are the pillars of the human tribe. Aren't you afraid of the wrath of the Imperial Emperors if you dare to destroy the War God Temple? Besides, Ling Xiao is the chosen one of the human tribe. If you insist on dealing with Ling Xiao, you'll only make a fool of yourself in front of the demon tribe." Yi Qingqing looked at the masters of the sacred grounds and said seriously. The Samsara Master sneered in the face of the Dao Lord Extermination and Yi Qingqing's questioning. "Don't use Lord Kunwu to scare me. I've just broken through, and even Lord Kunwu can't say anything about me staying in the Divine World for a few days. I advise you not to get involved. I don't want to be enemies with the Taishang Dao Palace and the Golden Emperor clan, but it doesn't mean that I'm afraid of you. It's useless to say more. Since you insist on fighting, then let's fight. If you want to kill Ling Xiao, you'll have to get through me first." The Dao Lord Extermination said coldly, and there was a strong fighting spirit in his eyes. "Ling Xiao is my good friend. I can't let you hurt him." Yi Qingqing sighed and said firmly. Rumble. Duguchobai, Yi Liangchen, Annihilation Dao Lord Yi Qingqing, and the others all unleashed their powerful auras at the same time. Their bodies glowed with divine light as their battle intent soared. They stood by Ling Zhao's side and were determined to fight alongside him. "Why do you have to do this?" Ling Xiao sighed and said helplessly, but there was a trace of gratitude in his eyes. They knew that they were going to die, but they still rushed to rescue him. They were willing to fight against the Chinese and the 7 immortal sacred grounds. "Ling Xiao, could it be that you think they'll be able to save the War God Temple and save you? I originally thought that you had some sort of backup plan, But now it seems that you're really disappointing. The Samsara master stared at Ling Xiao and sneered. His eyes were full of disdain. Aren't they enough? Ling Xiao muttered to himself. Not enough. The Samsara master said coldly. Since that's the case, then just come out. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Rumble. He waved his hand, and suddenly, the void shook violently. The heavenly might was like a prison monument, and in an instant, it bloomed with boundless light. The huge barrier that enveloped the war god temple disappeared. Ling Xiao, I'm about to die from anxiety. Is it finally my turn? Come. I want to see which reckless fool dares to harm you. Wash your necks and wait for me to chop you to death. An arrogant and domineering voice sounded. In an instant, the void shook violently. The old goat and Taoist Wuliang rushed out of the war god temple. The aura around them was terrifying. Both of their cultivations had reached the king sage realm, and they were supreme king sages. Most importantly, they were followed by thousands of figures with terrifying auras. Each of them exuded a vast holy path aura, causing the surrounding void to shake violently. There were 4 holy masters, hundreds of king sages, and thousands of supreme sages and sages. This was the power of the devouring mountain. Cousin, who was the one who offended you? Today, we'll kill them until their blood flows like a river. I think you should have been the master of the deity world long ago. It's best to kill all these eyesores. Long Outyen's arrogant and domineering voice sounded. Rumble. A terrifying aura rose around him. He wore a golden dragon robe and a flat imperial crown. He held the ancestral dragon sword in his hand and wore a pair of cloud dragon boots. His aura was majestic and domineering. He was like the dragon emperor on patrol, exuding a domineering aura that could suppress and sweep the world. Behind him were the experts of the 5 great sacred tribes. Phoenix Maiden, Huangju, Xuanji, Bai Hansong, and the others were all present. There were more than 10,000 holy path experts in the sky. Their terrifying aura seemed to be able to annihilate everything, causing the surrounding void to shake violently. Most importantly, those 10 terrifying figures that resembled suns were all Empyrean realm powerhouses. They were the experts of the Dragon Tribe, the Phoenix Tribe, the White Tiger Tribe, the Black Tortoise Tribe, and the Qilin Tribe. With Long Outyen as the leader, they charged into the deity world. Greetings, Demon Lord. Greetings, Demon Lord. Greetings, Demon Lord. With the old goat, Taoist Wuliang, and Long Outyen in the lead, the experts of the Devouring Mountain and the 5 great sacred tribes bowed to Ling Xiao. Their voices were like thunder that shook the 9 heavens, causing the surrounding people to tremble. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Experts of the demon realm. How could the experts of the demon realm break through the barrier of the deity world and come to Ling Xiao's aid? Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief. Demon Lord? Are they calling for Ling Xiao? When did Ling Xiao become the demon lord? Something big is going to happen. So many experts of the demon realm have come to the deity world. Is this the prelude to a war between the 2 realms? This is too terrifying. How could Ling Xiao be so powerful? The demon realm actually sent 14 holy masters to rescue Ling Xiao. It's hard to tell the outcome of this battle. Everyone was stunned. They never thought that there would be such a reversal. The experts of the demon realm actually came to rescue Ling Xiao and sent such a terrifying force. What would the 8 great sacred tribes do? The Samsara master and the others were also shocked. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao, you actually colluded with the demon realm. It seems that I was right. You really did betray the human tribe. But do you think these people will be able to save your life? The Samsara master's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent as he stared at Ling Xiao. A terrifying aura rose around him, causing the surrounding void to vibrate violently. It was as if he was going to strike at any moment and kill Ling Xiao. If they're not enough, what about us? At this moment, a cold and indifferent voice rang out in the void. Above the monument, an incomparably resplendent door of light appeared. A peerless beauty walked out. She was extremely beautiful. Her entire body exuded a soul-stirring sense of beauty. Behind her, horrifying figures appeared in the air, covering the sky and covering the sun. Vast and mighty demonic aura spread out, causing the surrounding void to distort violently. An army of 100,000. Moreover, each figure had the cultivation of a sage. Their auras were extremely terrifying. Other than the beautiful woman, there were 9 other figures as bright as the sun. They emitted a dazzling radiance. Their cultivation had also reached the Holy Master realm. An I Chang King, the subordinate of the Lord of Demons, greets the Demon Lord. Song by King, the subordinate of the Lord of Demons, greets the Demon Lord. Lu King, the subordinate of the Lord of Demons, greets the Demon Lord. Peony King, the subordinate of the Lord of Demons, greets the Demon Lord. Ba Ji King, the subordinate of the Lord of Demons, greets the Demon Lord. Thunderous voices exploded in the void. They gathered together like a tsunami and swept toward everyone. Everyone's faces instantly turned pale. Their eyes widened, and their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. P.S. I'm out of town on a business trip. I've just finished the 3rd chapter. It's a little late. Everyone, rest early. 3rd Sect Leader. Chapter 28-27. Rumble. Above the void, there were 10 figures led by Ni Shang, King Pine Cypress, King Willow, King Peony, and King Eightpole. They were all heavenly venerables, and each of them exuded an unfathomable aura. It was as though there were 10 suns in the sky, causing the entire realm of the gods to tremble violently. Behind them, there was an army of 100,000. Each of them exuded a powerful holy path aura. They were all sages. An army of 100,000 sages. How terrifying was that? Even the 8 superforces combined did not have an army of 100,000 sages. How could Ling Xiao control such a terrifying force? Everyone in the realm of the gods was stunned. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably as they looked at Ling Xiao's figure in the sky, their eyes filled with disbelief and respect. It turned out that Ling Xiao had not returned to the realm of the gods alone. 200 years had passed, and not only had Ling Xiao's cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, breaking through to the celestial venerable realm, he had even grasped such a world-shaking great force under his command. Was this the destiny of the Chosen One? For the first time, everyone had a deep understanding of the words Chosen One. However, it was not over yet. The void shattered again. The heavenly might was like the prison steel. It was as though it could connect the heavens and realms and open up void passageways. In the void, another group of figures with terrifying auras appeared. Each of them exuded an ancient aura and exuded a primordial energy fluctuation. Greetings, Master, heavenly venerate Huai under the Chaos Lord. Greetings, Master, heavenly venerate Rose under the Chaos Lord. Greetings, Master, heavenly venerate Thorns under the Chaos Lord. Greetings, Master, heavenly venerate Moon Osmanthus under the Chaos Lord. 4 thunderous voices reverberated in the void. The 4 towering figures, along with the group of experts behind them, knelt down in front of Ling Xiao at the same time. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship. Another 4 heavenly venerate experts and an army of 10,000 sages have arrived? The Chaos Lord? Isn't Ling Xiao the Lord of Demons? How did he become the Chaos Lord? Everyone was dumbfounded. This was especially true for those with weak cultivations and weak minds. Their faces were pale, and they were about to faint from the waves of experts descending. They suddenly realized that the 8 superpowers' attempt to annihilate the War God's temple and kill Ling Xiao was no different from poking a hornet's nest. What a joke! How could they touch Ling Xiao? Even the members of the War God Temple were dumbfounded. Even though Liu Bai, Pangatiangang, and the White Dragon Horse were confident in Ling Xiao and believed that Ling Xiao had a backup plan, they did not expect Ling Xiao's backup plan to be so shocking. Ling Xiao actually had such a terrifying force under his command. It wouldn't be difficult for him to sweep through the 8 superpowers, right? The White Dragon Horse suddenly glanced at the old mountain goat in the sky. It immediately went up to him and licked its lips. Old Mountain Goat, What has Ling Xiao been through all these years? Can you tell me about it? Impudent. Call me young master and trash like you only managed to cultivate to the Saint King realm now? There are dozens of demon race heavenly venerables under the demon lord. If you don't cultivate properly, you won't even be qualified to be the demon lord's mount. The old mountain goat slapped the white dragon horse's head and chuckled. The white dragon horse was furious. At the same time, it said with a guilty conscience, "Don't talk nonsense. I'm a dragon horse, the great emperor's mount. Wouldn't it be awe-inspiring to ride on me and sweep through the universe?" You want to sweep through the universe? With such a useless cultivation, you'll only embarrass the demon lord. Look at me and the ox-nosed old Taoist. We're about to break through to the heavenly venerable's realm. Come, call me young master and I'll teach you. The old mountain goat looked at the white dragon horse with disdain and said proudly, "Young master and big brother old mountain goat, what benefits do you have? Bring me along. We're good brothers." The white dragon horse's eyes lit up as it said shamelessly, "That's more like it. Let me tell you, we've obtained a great fortune this time with Ling Xiao." The old mountain goat chuckled and put his arm around the white dragon horse's shoulder. Without mentioning the two of them whispering, the many experts from the 8 super factions had recovered from their shock at this moment. Their expressions became incomparably ugly, and their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Above the void, the figures with monstrous auras were densely packed and shrouded the entire sky. Moreover, they had vaguely trapped the people from the 8 super forces in the middle. They counted carefully. The 3 heavenly venerables from the Taishang Palace, Dugu Ju from the Hero Alliance, the heavenly venerables from the Golden Emperor tribe, and heavenly venerables Zhan Feng, Lu Bai, and Ling Xiao from the War God Hall. That was a total of 8 heavenly venerables. The old mountain goat and Taoist Wu Yang brought 4 heavenly venerables with them. The 5 sacred tribes sent 10 heavenly venerables. Ni Shang, King Song Bai, and the other 10 heavenly venerables, as well as the 4 heavenly venerables from the untainted territory, made a total of 28 heavenly venerables. In total, there were a total of 36 heavenly venerables. Not to mention, the army of sages they brought with them was more than 100,000 people. Since when could the number of sages be described as 10,000? The 8 superforces only had 24 heavenly venerables and 10,000 sages. The difference between the two was too great. How were they going to fight the battle today? Everyone couldn't help but look at the Samsara master. The Lord of Samsara had the cultivation of an imperial emperor. An imperial emperor had touched upon the supreme emperor realm, which was the pinnacle of Tao. His strength was terrifying. Perhaps only the Lord of Samsara could turn the tide. The master of Samsara's face was ghastly. He looked at the calm and indifferent Ling Xiao and suddenly felt his heart palpitate. The chosen one in front of him, the rising star of the God world, had finally reached a level where he had to take him seriously. He was even deeply afraid of him. No matter how strong Ling Xiao was previously, he was only one person. But now, Ling Xiao had dozens of heavenly venerables under his command and more than 100,000 sages in his army. He controlled the life and death of billions of people and possessed great power. It could be said that if Ling Xiao wanted to, he could create an immortal sanctuary at any time. Moreover, it was a great force that far surpassed the 12 immortal sanctuaries in the God world. Ling Xiao, I didn't expect you to have such great fortune in the past 200 years. You have mastered such great power. You are the chosen one of the human tribe. This is also the human tribe's fortune. With so many experts, our chances of fighting against the demon tribe in the future will be greatly increased. Why don't we turn weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk? Let's write off our grievances. What do you think? The master of Samsara looked at Ling Xiao and suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. He spoke slowly in an extremely calm manner. Turn weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk? Ha! What a big joke. As soon as the master of Samsara finished speaking, the white dragon horse laughed arrogantly. Its voice was full of mockery. Even the surrounding experts looked at the Samsara master with ridicule in their eyes. The dominator of Samsara really changed his face faster than one could flip a book. Just a moment ago, he wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Now, he said that they were all from the human tribe and that they should turn weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk? P.S. Last night, I had dinner with friends at the last minute. I drank too much and didn't ask for leave. Sorry, I will make up for yesterday's chapter. The most exciting part is coming. Everyone make way. Ling Xiao is about to start acting tough. Peek. Chapter 28-28. Rumble. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by a purple aura, and he walked toward the Samsara Master. His gaze was indifferent and bright while the imposing aura around his body soared. He was like a celestial emperor that was out on patrol, inspecting the myriad of worlds, and moving through the sun, moon, and stars. He emanated an invincible aura that completely overshadowed the elegant bearing of everyone in the surroundings. Samsara Master, although I've seen how shameless you can be, it seems like you've refreshed the line. Do you really think that we can bury the hatchet? Ling Xiao said indifferently with a calm expression. Why not? At our current level of cultivation, what we pursue is the supreme great emperor realm, the realm of eternity and immortality. Whatever grudges we have, they're just passing clouds. Moreover, you killed Samsara Temple's Heavenly Master Ku Rong and crippled Qin Mieshing and Heavenly Master Yu Feng, but I didn't hold it against you. Although you have many experts under you, they'll all die if I attack. Do you really think that you can defeat an emperor with sheer numbers? The Samsara Master said with a smile, and his eyes were full of confidence. The 8 super forces were now at a disadvantage, and it was impossible for them to destroy the War God Temple and kill Ling Xiao. However, the Samsara Master was not worried at all. He was an Emperor Realm expert, and he had an ultimate Emperor weapon. Once he unleashed his full power, dozens of Heavenly Masters would not be his match. He believed that Ling Xiao would not want to fight to the death with him, since he had finally gained such a powerful force. Samsara Master, you're really shameless. But I'm sorry, everyone who dares to come to the War God Temple must die. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes instantly became incomparably cold as he spoke resolutely and decisively. Rumble. As if in response to Ling Xiao, the Heavenly Venerables and the army of saints all released their unparalleled saint aura. Their auras exploded like a raging sea. Their eyes were sharp and their fighting spirit rose. It seemed that as long as Ling Xiao gave the order, they would attack and drown the 8 super forces. Ling Xiao, do you really want to fight to the death? We have 24 Heavenly Venerables here and we have 8 Extreme Dao Emperor weapons. If we really fight, both sides will suffer great losses. At that time, it will only benefit the demon race. Do you want to be the sinner of the human race? The master of Samsara scolded Ling Xiao harshly. His eyes were filled with a cold light. Sinners of the human race? What a joke! When you came to kill me, why didn't you think that it would benefit the demon race? When you said you wanted to destroy the War God Temple, why didn't you think that it would benefit the demon race? Now that you've seen the millions of experts under my command, you're finally afraid? Apex Emperor Weapon. Not even an Extreme Dao Monarch weapon can save your lives. Ling Xiao said coldly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He hated the 8 superpowers to the extreme. 200 years ago, they had surrounded and killed him in the soaring Sky Mountain range. If he hadn't been lucky, he would have died in that battle. 200 years later, they had killed their way to the War God Temple and wanted to kill him and destroy the War God Temple. Ling Xiao and the 8 superpowers had a deep hatred for each other. How could they bury the hatchet with just a few words? What a joke! Ling Xiao had made up his mind. When the battle started, he would hold the master of Samsara back. He would use his supreme techniques and trump cards to destroy the master of Samsara. Once the master of Samsara was dead, the remaining 8 superpowers would be nothing to be afraid of. Rumble. At that moment, the old goat, Long Outyan, Huang Ju, Phoenix Woman, Xuanji, and Bai Hansong laughed coldly. Blazing divine light rose from their bodies and a vast Extreme Dao Emperor's aura exploded. Above their heads, 6 extremely powerful Extreme Dao Emperor weapons appeared. They swallowed the sun and moon and engulfed the heavens and earth. Divine chains of order intertwined and divine light rose, causing the heavens and earth to tremble violently. The master of Samsara's face turned ghastly pale. 6 Extreme Tao Emperor Weapons. In addition to the Heavenly Emperor's seal, Ling Zhao's heavenly aura was like a prison steel. He even had the Yin-Yang Tai Chi diagram and time compass from the Supreme Doctrine Palace. That was 10 Extreme Tao Emperor Weapons. Even the master of Samsara felt his scalp tingle when he saw the 10 Extreme Tao Emperor Weapons. Unknowingly, Ling Xiao had become so powerful. Could it be? Is Ling Xiao really going to start a great battle? It's too terrifying. Once the battle starts, I'm afraid the War God Temple will be destroyed? Someone exclaimed, and his eyes were filled with shock. Even if Ling Xiao wins, it will be a Pyrrhic victory. After all, the Extreme Tao Emperor weapons suppress everything. Once they are fully awakened, many heavenly masters will die. Moreover, the master of Samsara is an imperial emperor. I think Ling Xiao is in a difficult position now. Isn't that so? If he loses, the War God Temple will be destroyed and he will die without a burial place. If he wins, he will be a sinner of the human race after killing so many human experts. That's right. In my opinion, Ling Xiao should bury the hatchet with the master of Samsara. If he does this, he will only make his enemies happy. Ling Xiao is the chosen one of the human race. He should think about the overall situation of the human race. How can he be considered the chosen one if he doesn't give up? That's right. I think the master of Samsara is right. Ling Xiao is ambitious and he might be a spy of the demon race. What bullshit chosen one? He doesn't care about the overall situation of the human race at all. I think he is a villain who is intoxicated by success. The crowd discussed animatedly. Although their voices were soft, they could still be heard clearly by the crowd. Unknowingly, the crowd's standpoint seemed to have changed. Previously, when the 8 super forces attacked the War God Temple and Ling Xiao, they sympathized with Ling Xiao. Some even gloated and watched the battle as if it had nothing to do with them. But now, when Ling Xiao displayed his powerful strength, they actually began to sympathize with the 8 super forces. They thought that Ling Xiao was vengeful and narrow-minded. After all, the human race was facing a great enemy. The demon race had always made it hard for the human race to breathe. The human race needed to unite all their forces to fight against the demon race. They should not die in internal strife. They were dissatisfied with Ling Xiao's unwillingness to give up. Boom! Ling Xiao sent out a palm strike, and a huge palm print covered the sky and covered the earth as it flew through the air. The few experts who secretly said that he was a vile person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance were directly smashed into a bloody mist. Ling Xiao, you dare to kill the innocent human race? You still say that you are not a spy of the demon race? Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Ling Xiao to be so powerful that he could kill the experts who were watching the battle. Some people were shocked and angry, shouting at Ling Xiao. Boom! Ling Xiao's face was cold. He pointed his finger in the air again. The finger light was sharp and pierced through the foreheads of the people who shouted at him, killing them all. Peek. Chapter 28-29. Who else dares to object? Step forward now. Don't worry, I guarantee that your souls will be completely destroyed. Not a single trace will be left behind. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His voice was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. Everyone trembled and kept quiet out of fear. They looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of anger but did not dare to speak. In their hearts, Ling Xiao had instantly become a demon who wantonly slaughtered the innocent. I don't care what you think of me, and I don't care. However, there are at least 8,000 people who want to kill me, if not 10,000, and they all died in my hands. You can say that I'm vengeful and unforgiving, but I, Ling Xiao, am such a person. Ling Xiao's voice was like a mighty heavenly might, causing the void to tremble and reverberate between heaven and earth. Someone once told me that the human race is a group of people who only know how to be tyrannical at home. They will always forget the pain after the scars have healed. I didn't believe it in the past, but I believe it now. You are now accusing me of being vengeful, but don't you know that 200 years ago, They were the ones who set up an inescapable trap in the Lingshao mountain range and insisted on killing me? Don't you know that they were the ones who were still unforgiving after hearing the news of my death? They killed the disciples of the War God Temple, destroyed the foundation of the War God Temple, eliminated the dissidents, and killed the innocent? Don't you know that after I returned to the War God Hall, they wanted to kill me to eliminate all future troubles? They actually mobilized a monarch, 24 celestial venerables, and over 10,000 saints to kill me and destroy my War God Hall? You know. How can you not know? But you are afraid of them, so you don't even dare to say a word. 200 years ago, you watched as I was chased by the various immortal sacred grounds without saying a word. 200 years later, you want me to consider the big picture and let them go? Pa, how laughable. You are always so stupid, arrogant, and self-righteous. You are also as selfish as these so-called immortal sacred grounds and supreme monarch clans. That's why, after the 9 emperors of the human race, there hasn't been another great emperor in the divine realm. That's because all the geniuses have long been obliterated by you. Fuck the general situation of the human race. Fuck the mindset of the human race. You were bullied and killed by the demons because of your stupidity. Today, I will take revenge for the smallest grievance. I will not let them off easily. I will kill them all. I, Lingshao, am who I am. I am not your savior, nor am I the chosen one of the human race. Why should I, Lingshao, need you to comment on my actions? Lingshao stepped through the air, his entire body exuding a vast and mighty aura. His eyes were sharp and resplendent, but his voice seemed somewhat deranged and sorrowful, saying everything in one breath. These were all words that had accumulated in Ling Zhao's heart for a long time. Now that he had let out a long howl, he felt unprecedentedly relaxed. Big brother Ling Xiao, you've suffered too much all these years. But these people are just a bunch of idiots. They deserve to die. In the War God Shrine, Jin Se and Shui Wei seemed to empathize with Ling Xiao after hearing his words. Their eyes were red and filled with heartache. Everyone only saw that Ling Xiao was extremely lucky. He didn't die 200 years ago, and his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. Furthermore, he had subdued such a huge force, becoming an influential figure in the realm of the gods. However, Jin Se and Shui Wei only saw how much pain and suffering Ling Xiao had to go through to reach where he was today. Their hearts ached for Ling Xiao, and they hated the cold bystanders even more. Ah, I'm so angry. These bastards who bully the weak and fear the strong, do they really think that I don't dare to kill them? Today, we will flatten the realm of the gods with the demon lord and kill all these despicable and shameless people. Let's see who dares to say a word. The old goat also roared, incomparably furious. Ling Xiao is the heaven's chosen child, the heaven's chosen child of the universe, not the heaven's chosen child of the human race. He doesn't owe you anything. On the contrary, you owe him. Lu Bai also swept his gaze across the crowd and said coldly, "Today's battle will annihilate all sects and clans. What nonsense is this about the human race? Today, we will kill to our heart's content." Long Outyan also roared loudly. Boom boom boom. Incomparably terrifying aura exploded, like the roaring of mountains and rivers, overturning the heavens and the earth, spreading unscrupulously in all directions. Originally, Ling Xiao had ordered all the experts to restrain their auras in fear of accidentally injuring the bystanders. Now, everyone released their powerful auras without any hesitation. The surrounding people's faces changed drastically. Every one of them revealed an incomparably terrified expression, and they hurriedly retreated. Some of the weaker ones didn't even have time to retreat. Their bodies shook violently, and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their auras became dispirited and weak. In an instant, the area of 10,000 miles around the War God Temple was completely cleared. Although everyone was angry, they didn't dare to say anything. Although they were furious, they didn't dare to say anything. Every one of them glared at Ling Xiao. Now they hated Ling Xiao to the core. Ling Xiao ignored them. His gaze fell on the Samsara Master, and he said indifferently, "Samsara Master, don't you want to take the human race into consideration? Very well, I will fulfill your wish. You and I will fight to determine victory and defeat, and also to determine life and death. If you win, then I will die, and the grudge between us will be written off. If you die, then let them all be buried with you. Ling Zhao's voice was incomparably calm, but it contained a biting, cold, murderous intent. The Samsara master couldn't help but frown. Are you sure you want to have a fair fight with me? Although you have broken through to the celestial master realm, you are no match for me. The Samsara master stared at Ling Zhao and said slowly, What? Are you afraid? Life and death are up to fate, and victory or defeat is up to the heavens. Samsara master, do you dare to fight me? Ling Zhao stared at the Samsara master. His voice was resolute and sharp, echoing in the void like thunder. Rumble. Ling Zhao's entire body emitted a monstrous battle intent. The blood in his body seemed to be boiling, and a dazzling sharpness erupted from his eyes. He wanted to fight with the Samsara master because the Samsara master was the best whetstone for him. Ling Zhao also wanted to see what kind of realm a real imperial emperor was in. What a joke! Do you think I'm afraid of you? Ling Zhao, since you want to die, then I will fulfill your wish. The Samsara master's eyes flashed sharply, and he sneered coldly. Rumble. He also soared into the sky. Along with Ling Zhao, he broke through the void and entered the turbulence of the void to fight. At their cultivation level, if they fought in the God world, the destructive power would be too great. Therefore, they usually entered the turbulence of the void to fight. P.S. The third update has been delivered. There is still the third update. It should be a little late, but the sixth update will not be short. Peak. Chapter 2830. Rumble. Ling Zhao and the Samsara master faced each other in the void turbulence. Their bodies emitted a blazing light that swept away the void turbulence around them. Ling Zhao's eyes were cold. His whole body emitted an extremely strong fighting spirit. His vital energy and blood surged. Purple gas filled the air and formed all kinds of strange scenes around him. This was not the first time Ling Zhao had faced an imperial emperor expert. 200 years ago, Ling Zhao had fought against the Devil World's Yuanlu demon lord. However, at that time, the gap between him and the Yuanlu demon lord was too great. Even if he had an extreme Dao monarch weapon and the wordless heavenly book, he was still no match for the Yuanlu demon lord. Even if he self-destructed the wordless heavenly book, he still could not kill Demon King Yuanlu. Ling Zhao understood how terrifying an imperial emperor who had mastered the origin energy was. Just like the Samsara master, who was surrounded by mysterious light, as if he had integrated all the worlds into the Samsara. He was mysterious and terrifying. That was the Samsara origin. The Samsara master had broken through to the imperial emperor realm with the Samsara origin. His strength was extremely powerful. Therefore, he did not take the celestial venerables seriously. Celestial venerables were at the peak of the holy path, while imperial emperors were at the supreme emperor realm. The difference between the two seemed to be only one realm, but it was a world of difference. Ling Zhao, make your move. Let me see the true strength of the chosen one. Otherwise, when I make my move, you won't stand a chance. The Samsara master said indifferently. In that case, I won't hold back. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. In an instant, the blazing light around him rose. He threw a punch at the Samsara master. Purple gas spread across 30,000 miles like a rising purple sun. It intertwined with the majestic vital energy and blood around Ling Zhao. It was extremely terrifying. This was the pure physical strength and the powerful strength given by the primordial immortal body. The punch was like the opening of the primordial world and the destruction of heaven and earth. Even celestial venerables could not block it. Good timing. The Samsara master sneered. Suddenly, a blazing light gushed out from his body. Waves of powerful emperor's might filled the air and seemed to be able to crush the heavens and destroy the chaos. He also threw a punch at Ling Zhao. Boom! The two ferocious fists collided. In an instant, a dazzling divine light erupted and swept out in all directions. The turbulence of the void around Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master trembled violently and shattered into pieces. Both Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master shuddered and retreated at the same time. At the Imperial Emperor realm, one uses the power of origin to temper their body. A physical body that far surpasses that of an Empyrean realm powerhouse. So this is the body of an imperial lord. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly as he thought to himself. His physical strength was unparalleled. If he had faced a celestial master with that punch, he would have been able to kill that celestial master. However, he was evenly matched with the Samsara Master. Ling Xiao could sense that the Samsara Master had just tempered his body with the Samsara origin. His body contained powerful origin power, which made his body extremely sturdy and had some immortal characteristics. The legendary great emperors were the ones who truly possessed immortal and indestructible bodies. They were able to traverse the primordial chaos and break through space-time. Even if the heavens and earth were destroyed, they would not be destroyed. It turned out that all of this started from the Imperial Lord realm. Ling Xiao seemed to have obtained some sort of confirmation from the Samsara Master. His eyes grew brighter and brighter. Without any hesitation, he threw another punch at the Samsara Master. Damn it! How could he have such a strong physical body? It actually far surpasses Empyrean powerhouses, and is even stronger than my fleshly body. This Heaven's Chosen One has too many secrets on him. The Samsara Master's eyes twinkled, but he was shocked. The punch just now seemed to be evenly matched, but the Samsara Master's internal organs were slightly injured. His blood and chi surged. He had just broken through to the Imperial Lord realm. Although he had tempered his body with the Samsara origin, it had not been long. His flesh and bones had been tempered, but his internal organs had not been completely tempered. The first heaven of the Imperial Lord realm was a process of returning to the innate realm. The first heaven of the Imperial Lord realm used the origin power to temper the body and transform it into the body of origin. If the tempering was completed and the body of origin was condensed, not only would the body of origin explode with more origin power, but the body of diamond would also be immortal and incomparably sturdy. Ordinary external forces would not be able to break it. Back then, Yuan Lu Demon King had condensed the body of origin and his body was immortal. That was why he could escape from the self-destruction of the wordless heavenly book. Although the Samsara Master was shocked, his fighting spirit was also stimulated. Blazing divine light surged around his body. Circles of Samsara light spread out and condensed in his palm. They turned into powerful Samsara fist prints and attacked Ling Xiao. Boom, boom, boom. In the turbulence of the void, divine light intertwined, runes rose, and divine chains of order sealed the surroundings. The terrifying fist prints exploded like a tsunami. The battle between Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master was like two immemorial divine mountains colliding continuously. Every blow exploded with destructive energy waves that swept across the turbulence of the void and destroyed the chaotic void. War God Temple. Lu Bai waved his hand and condensed a huge light screen in the void. He used the Heavenly Emperor seal to capture the auras of Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master, showing the scene of their battle in the turbulence of the void. Everyone was watching this great battle. The battle between Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master seemed to concern the survival of War God Temple and the 8 super forces. Isn't it too risky for Ling Xiao to fight the Samsara Master alone? After all, an Imperial Emperor expert has mastered the Great Path origin and condensed the Emperor's aura. I don't think we need to have a fair fight. With so many Supreme Emperor weapons, we can kill the Samsara Master directly. Celestial Master Zhan Feng said with a hint of worry in his eyes. Ancestor, don't worry. Although I don't know what Ling Xiao has encountered in the past 200 years, I know him best. This guy is very cunning. If he didn't have absolute confidence, he wouldn't have fought the Samsara Master. Since he chose to fight the Samsara Master, it means that he has absolute confidence. This guy wants to show off in front of everyone and give the 8 super forces a slap in the face. Think about it, when Ling Xiao completes the feat of killing an Imperial Emperor, how shocking would that be? The White Dragon Horse said with a smile. He looked as if he knew Ling Xiao very well. White Dragon Horse, Are you itching for a beating again? How dare you say that Ling Xiao is cunning? How dare you say that Ling Xiao is showing off? After he kills the Samsara master, I think he will break your legs too. The old goat said with a cold laugh. Chapter 28:31. Cough cough. That's not what I meant. What I meant was that Master's strength was so great that he could dominate the world. A mere Samsara master was just a clown. How could a firefly compete with the bright moon? The master of Samsara will definitely die. The white dragon horse coughed and glared fiercely at the old goat. Damn it, why did I suddenly realize that the old goat was even more shameless than me? How could he threaten me so easily? He was the scum and disgrace of the Taotai clan. The Taotai clan was a bunch of scum. Ling Xiao must have his own reasons for choosing to fight with the master of Samsara. I think he's using the master of Samsara as a whetstone. He wants to test something from the master of Samsara and break the limit. Lu Bai's eyes flickered as he watched the scene of the battle on the screen and said slowly, "Break the limit? Is Ling Xiao going to break through to the Imperial Emperor realm?" Pangu Tiangang couldn't help but exclaim. It shouldn't be that fast. But it might help him see the road ahead. The master of Samsara has just broken through to the Imperial Emperor realm. He's indeed a good whetstone. Lu Bai said slowly. Celestial Master Zhan Feng felt a little tired and hurt. He was originally worried about the battle between Ling Xiao and the master of Samsara. However, the white dragon horse, the old goat, and Lu Bai were all confident in Ling Xiao. They didn't seem worried at all and thought that Ling Xiao would definitely win. Since when did a celestial master dare to use an Imperial Emperor realm expert as a whetstone? And it was so natural. Celestial Master Zhan Feng suddenly felt that these guys were too arrogant. They believed in Ling Xiao without thinking. However, in this way he felt much more at ease. Perhaps the people from the 8 super forces were the ones who were going to cry in this battle. Everyone was watching this highly anticipated battle. The battle between Ling Xiao and the master of Samsara would determine victory and defeat. It would also determine life and death. Would the chosen one be able to create a miracle and dominate the world? Or would the master of Samsara be able to kill everything and protect the dignity of an imperial emperor? Everyone was waiting for the result of this battle. Rumble. Amidst the turbulence of the void, a purple fist imprint shot out. It contained unparalleled divine power and sent the Samsara master flying. Ling Xiao's eyes were sharp, and his body exuded a vast aura as he strode through the air. His pace was very slow, and every step he took was like the beating of a heavenly drum, exploding with loud rumbling sounds, causing the aura around him to become more and more terrifying. Purple chi filled the air, emitting an immortal luster. Ling Xiao's primordial immortal body seemed to have completely awakened. An incomparably terrifying power was awakening within his body. The Samsara master's expression was extremely ugly. He glared at Ling Xiao, his eyes filled with cold, murderous intent. Ling Xiao, don't think that you can fight against an imperial emperor just because your physical body is strong. Today, I'll let you know the disparity between an Empyrean and an imperial lord. Samsara master said coldly. The Samsara light around him rose, causing the surrounding void turbulence to distort violently. An incomparably terrifying fist will rose from his body. Rumble. The mighty fist will exploded, containing powerful origin energy. It condensed an unparalleled emperor's aura, causing the Samsara master's aura to become more and more powerful. An incomparably mysterious figure vaguely appeared behind the Samsara master. It was as if an ancient great emperor had come back to life. It was surrounded by endless chaotic light, and it displayed an unparalleled fist imprint that dominated the world. The Samsara master threw a punch at Ling Xiao, and a terrifying scene of Samsara appeared around him. It was as if all Daos had been destroyed and everything had returned to nothingness. Heavenly Myriad Reincarnation Fist. It was one of the most powerful Supreme Emperor skills of the Samsara Temple. Legend had it that it was a Supreme Fist Way created by the Samsara Great Emperor. Even the Heavenly Emperor had comprehended the Heavenly Myriad Reincarnation Fist when he created the Heavenly Emperor's Fist. The Samsara Master was thoroughly enraged by Ling Xiao, so he directly unleashed the power of the Heavenly Myriad Reincarnation Fist. Good. This is getting interesting. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up and a majestic fighting spirit erupted from his body. It instantly soared into the sky. Previously, the two of them had only been testing each other's strength by using their physical strength. However, the Samsara Master was obviously no match for Ling Xiao's primordial immortal body. Now, the real battle was about to begin. Chaotic light rose around the Samsara Master, and divine chains of order intertwined. It was as if there was a mysterious scene of thousands of Daos supporting him. This caused his fist to contain an unparalleled destructive power, which made Ling Xiao feel a great deal of pressure. Rumble! Ling Xiao's qi and blood rose. He did not dodge. Moreover, the Heavenly Myriad Reincarnation Fist had locked onto him, so he had no way of dodging. He could only face it head-on. Purple gas swirled around him, and chaotic fog filled the air. Ling Xiao threw a punch, and it was as if the sun, moon, and stars had been annihilated. The scene of heaven and earth shattering appeared behind him. Ling Xiao's body exuded a kind of eternal and immortal fluctuation. The heavens and realms around him shattered, and all living beings died. Civilizations were destroyed, and then an era was born again. The cycle repeated itself. This was the epical fist that Ling Xiao had created. Ling Xiao could feel that his epical fist was gradually reaching perfection. As his understanding of the great Tao of heaven and earth deepened, and as the great tribulation of the epical era arrived, his epical fist became even more powerful. Now, in his hands, it could erupt with power that was not weaker than a supreme emperor technique. The Heavenly Myriad Reincarnation Fist versus the epical fist. This was the collision of two peerless fist Daos, which represented two different paths. It also represented the origin of two different great Daos, and both were extremely powerful. Rumble! The turbulence in the void seemed to have been annihilated by these two terrifying fist imprints. Endless divine light gushed out, manifesting all kinds of mysterious phenomena. Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master seemed to be engulfed by an endless storm. Their figures could not be seen clearly, and they could only see two balls of light, one purple and one black, colliding constantly. The peerless fist intent even spread out through the void, causing everyone in the outside world to tremble. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Although Samsara Master had cultivated the Heavenly Myriad Tao Reincarnation Fist, he hadn't comprehended the origin of reincarnation, so he hadn't been able to unleash the power of the Supreme Emperor technique. Now, he had used the reincarnation origin to activate the Heaven's Myriad Reincarnation Fist, which seemed capable of destroying the world. It was as if an ancient great emperor had descended. The terrifying emperor aura made the people outside tremble involuntarily. The blood in Ling Xiao's body was boiling as if it was on fire. His qi and blood gushed out like divine swords, erupting with a terrifying aura. What a powerful reincarnation fist of the heavens! It's not any weaker than my finger of annihilation and Celestial Emperor's imprisonment technique. In fact, it's even stronger. Ling Xiao was amazed. End of chapter. Baidu searching 81 Chinese network. No advertising message. Chapter 2832. Ling Xiao was enlightened. If he used the Age Destruction Finger and the Celestial Emperor's Prison Imprisonment skill, it would be difficult for him to block the reincarnation punch of the Samsara Master. After all, the Samsara Master was an imperial emperor. He could only unleash the strongest power by using the origin of the Great Path to activate the Supreme Emperor skill. Only the epic punch that Ling Xiao created was more suitable for him. It could unleash the power of the Supreme Emperor skill in this battle. Reincarnation of the heavens, reincarnation of 10,000 paths, destroy. The Samsara Master stared at Ling Xiao coldly. The aura around him grew stronger. Rumble! The powerful fist print pressed down on Ling Xiao. The origin of the Great Path suddenly exploded. Scenes of the heavens and realms appeared in the turbulence of the void. At the same time, tens of thousands of Tao descended and destroyed everything. Divine chains of order appeared around the Samsara Master. They were sharp and terrifying. They were so powerful that they seemed to be able to penetrate everything. The Samsara Master became braver as the battle went on. His aura became more terrifying and powerful. Divine light swept across the world and shattered everything. The battle between him and Ling Xiao was so intense that it was difficult to determine the winner. Ling Xiao's epic punch contained the power to destroy eras and destroy civilizations. It was vast and majestic. It seemed to be able to contain everything. As Ling Xiao fought with the Samsara Master, the terrifying aura engulfed both of them. Ling Xiao is only a celestial master. How can he be on par with the Samsara Master? Could it be that he has the combat strength of an imperial emperor? Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The powerful battle prowess that Ling Xiao displayed shocked everyone. Although Ling Xiao had killed 8 celestial masters and established an invincible reputation, no one had thought that he had the strength to contend with an imperial emperor. But now, it seemed that Ling Xiao had broken the limit of the absolute peak of the Holy Road and possessed the combat strength of an imperial emperor. Will Ling Xiao or the Master of Samsara win this battle? Everyone was puzzled. A mere celestial master wants to fight with an imperial emperor? He's courting death. I think Ling Xiao is at the end of his tether. It won't be long before he dies under the reincarnation punch of the Samsara Master. The patriarch of the Hua clan sneered. That's right. Such an arrogant, conceited, despicable and shameless person actually dares to be mentioned in the same breath as an imperial emperor? Saints cannot be humiliated, and celestial emperors cannot be humiliated even more. Ling Xiao will soon pay the price for his arrogance. Controlling the origin of the great Tao, forming the origin body, and erupting with the supreme emperor aura. The difference between the imperial emperor realm and the heavenly venerate realm is like heaven and earth. Even if Ling Xiao is the chosen one, he will still die. Once Ling Xiao dies, I'm afraid his subordinates will collapse on their own. When the time comes, we can directly annihilate the War God Temple. Perhaps we can even subdue some of the demon race's experts. I've long said that Ling Xiao is a wolf with wild ambitions. Now, he actually colluded with the demon race. He's indeed not a good person. The many sacred masters of the immortal sacred grounds exchanged glances with each other. Their spiritual consciousnesses intertwined, and they all sneered as killing intent surged in their hearts. They were all celestial venerables and had been stuck in this realm for countless years. Naturally, they knew how powerful the Master of Samsara was after breaking through to the Imperial Emperor realm. He was not someone a celestial venerable could contend against. It was a kind of transcendence in all aspects. Therefore, they were full of confidence in the Master of Samsara. They believed that Ling Xiao would definitely die in the hands of the Master of Samsara. Lu Bai and the others turned a deaf ear to the discussions of the crowd. They also believed in Ling Xiao. However, the battle in front of them seemed to be in a stalemate. Ling Xiao and the Master of Samsara's battle was extremely intense, and it was difficult to tell who would win. If this continued, it was likely that both sides would suffer. As if the white dragon horse saw the worry in the eyes of the crowd, he chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I think that guy Ling Xiao is holding back his ultimate move. This guy is very sinister. When the time comes, the Master of Samsara may be defeated by him in an instant." The crowd ignored him. Even the old goat could not be bothered to mock him. The white dragon horse was walking further and further away from the edge of death. Rumble! All the realms in the heavens rose with the support of all Taos. Divine chains of order intertwined around the Master of Samsara, causing his aura to become more and more terrifying. His fist print also became more and more powerful. In the end, the Master of Samsara seemed to have found a flaw in Ling Xiao's epic fist, and it directly shattered. The unparalleled fist print landed on Ling Xiao's chest and sent him flying. "Ling Xiao, you are no match for me. You will definitely die in this battle," the Master of Samsara said coldly. His eyes were blazing with sharpness. In fact, the master of samsara was extremely amazed. Ling Xiao was indeed the chosen one. His combat strength was extremely terrifying. No wonder he had the ability to kill the 8 holy masters. However, compared to an emperor, Ling Xiao was still lacking. Although the master of samsara had just broken through to the first heaven of the emperor realm, he had condensed the origin of the great Tao of samsara. In addition to his myriad heavens reincarnation fist, he was confident that he could even fight against a second heaven emperor. Rumble. The master of samsara walked toward Ling Xiao. The aura around him rose. He sneered as he accumulated his strength. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao in one go. Is that so? Master of samsara, you are too confident. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His eyes were extremely calm, without a trace of worry. Although he had been sent flying by the master of samsara and his epic fist had been broken, he had completely perfected the epic fist with the help of the master of samsara's myriad heavens reincarnation fist. The biggest flaw of the epic fist had been patched up. Ling Xiao's aura became complete. Purple chi filled the air around him, and chaotic light filled the air, causing the surrounding space to tremble slightly. However, the master of samsara realized that Ling Xiao seemed to have changed. The current Ling Xiao exuded an extremely dangerous aura. The master of samsara found it hard to believe. Master of samsara, the warm-up is over. Since you want to see my real combat strength, I will fulfill your wish. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. His gaze instantly became extremely sharp. The blazing aura around him rose like a vast sea, spewing out blazing lightning. Rumble. Ling Xiao punched toward the master of samsara. The dazzling fist print was like a sun. It bloomed in the void turbulence as if it had transformed into an ancient world, suppressing the master of samsara. What? The master of samsara's expression changed involuntarily. Ling Xiao's fist was huge and ethereal. It was more than a few times stronger than before. The moment it struck, the master of samsara felt extremely pressured. P.S. Sorry, this is to make up for yesterday's 6th update. I have been attending my classmate's wedding in Chengdu for the past few days, so I drank too much last night. Ma Muyu also wanted to finish writing the purest plot in one go, but I am always tied up with so many things. Sorry, everyone. However, I will be flying home tonight. There are still 3 updates in the evening. Starting tomorrow, I will update normally. End of chapter. Baidu Search Translator, Zephizi Editor, David T. No advertising message. Chapter 28:33. Rumble. Divine light blazed around the samsara master. Divine chains of order gathered together, and a vast fist will rose, forming the heavenly 1,000 reincarnation fist. It flew toward Ling Xiao. In the void, an ancient world pressed down from the sky. It was as blazing as the sun and contained unparalleled fist will. It collided with the samsara master in an instant. Blazing divine light bloomed and swept out in all directions like a storm. The samsara master's body shook violently. The vast power of samsara origin shattered. The heaven's 1,000 reincarnation fist was directly shattered in the void. The samsara master spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with disbelief. How could you have comprehended the reincarnation great path origin? The samsara master stared at Ling Xiao and asked. His heavenly 1,000 reincarnation fist had been broken by Ling Xiao so easily. Besides the fact that Ling Xiao's punch was extremely terrifying and seemed to be able to destroy everything, more importantly, Ling Xiao had also unleashed the power of reincarnation great path origin, which disintegrated the samsara master's heavenly 1,000 reincarnation fist from the inside. Nothing is impossible. Although I haven't comprehended the reincarnation great path origin, it's enough to deal with you, Ling Xiao said flatly. The mysterious light of reincarnation appeared around him, making him look ethereal and majestic. Ling Xiao possessed the 12 sky skills' secret skills. The chaos, fate, cause and effect, and reincarnation secret skills were integrated in his eyes, forming the power of domination. Ling Xiao had just activated the power of reincarnation's secret skills. With an unparalleled fist print, he broke the Samsara Master's heavenly thousand reincarnation fist. "You're courting death." The Samsara Master's eyes were cold. Two blazing light beams shot out from his eyes. He instantly soared into the sky. The powerful Emperor's power condensed and turned into a blazing sword light. It slashed toward Ling Xiao from the sky. Rumble! Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. The aura around him rose, and he became more and more terrifying. He walked in the void with majestic steps. Every step he took was a mysterious scene of the birth and death of a world. Faced with the Samsara Master's attack, he did not dodge. Instead, he threw a punch. Ling Xiao's primordial immortal body seemed to have been completely awakened. Purple gas swirled around his body and emitted a purple glow. There was even an eternal and immortal glow that spread out. The purple fist print came crashing down from the sky, sweeping away all the sword light in the sky. It went against the powerful Emperor's might and rose into the sky, clashing with the Samsara Master. Bang! The Samsara Master's body trembled violently. His blood and chi were boiling. His internal organs had been penetrated by the unparalleled fist force. Fresh blood was still flowing out of his mouth. "Damn it!" The Samsara Master roared. His eyes were full of anger and frustration. He'd just broken through to the first level of the Imperial Monarch realm. If he was given sufficient time, then he would be able to temper his body with quintessence energy, and he would be able to form a quintessence body that was peerlessly solid and eternal. But now, he'd only tempered his flesh and bones with the quintessence energy. He hadn't penetrated deep into his internal organs. Therefore, when he collided with Ling Xiao's unparalleled fist print, his physical body was severely injured. He was shocked and angry. He couldn't believe that Ling Xiao's physical body was so terrifying. Buzz! Ling Xiao's entire body radiated with purple light, holy and mysterious. Streaks of purple runes rose, making his entire body crystal clear as if he was made of glass. Moreover, accompanied by the fluctuations of the divine sound of the Great Path, he was mysterious and unpredictable. Boom! 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 He walked step by step toward the Samsara Master. Every step he took caused the sky and earth to roar. The turbulence of the void around him exploded. The unparalleled purple fist print came crashing down toward the Samsara Master. It was as if a purple sun had bloomed in the sky. Its aura was extremely terrifying. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation was only in the Celestial Master realm, at this moment, his aura seemed to have suppressed the Emperor's might that the Samsara Master emitted. Ling Xiao's fist landed on the Samsara Master's chest. His chest caved in and his ribs broke, revealing his crystal-clear bones. The Samsara Master trembled violently and was sent flying. The Samsara Master's strength was terrifying. He had condensed the origin of the great path of reincarnation and had the supreme Emperor technique, the heavenly thousand reincarnation fist. However, when he faced Ling Xiao, he felt powerless. Ling Xiao was too strong. The Samsara Master found it hard to believe. It was an invincible aura. An invincible aura cultivated from an invincible belief. An invincible aura that could destroy all enemies. What? Is the Samsara Master going to be defeated by Ling Xiao? This sudden turn of events shocked everyone. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Just a moment ago, the battle between Ling Xiao and the Samsara Master was in a stalemate. Their battle was extremely intense. The heavenly thousand reincarnation fist of the Samsara Master seemed to be able to suppress everything. Many people thought that the Samsara Master had a better chance of winning this battle. However, they did not expect Ling Xiao's strength to skyrocket in the blink of an eye. It was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. He directly suppressed the Samsara Master and injured the Samsara Master. The Samsara Master was constantly coughing up blood and retreating. The Samsara Master is an Imperial Emperor expert. He has already surpassed the absolute peak of the Holy Path and touched the Supreme Emperor realm. Even he is no match for Ling Xiao, someone said in shock. His voice was trembling. Everyone felt as if they were in a dream. They could not believe what they had just seen. Since when could a celestial master go against the flow and beat up an imperial emperor expert? Something big is going to happen. If Ling Xiao had really killed the master of Samsara, then the 8 super forces would be doomed. Given Ling Xiao's strength, he will definitely not let them off. The Chosen Sun. Is this the strength of the Chosen Sun? The celestial emperor at the beginning of the human tribe was like this. Now Ling Xiao is like this. However, given Ling Xiao's ruthless and vengeful nature, I wonder if it's a blessing or a curse for the human tribe that he has become the Chosen Sun. Everyone discussed softly. Their eyes were filled with worry. As for the experts from the 8 super forces, their eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. Their faces turned extremely ugly. Previously, they had been watching coldly from the sidelines. They were full of confidence and thought that the Samsara Master would definitely win this battle. But now, Ling Xiao had given them a tight slap on the face, causing their cheeks to burn with pain. At the same time, they could not help but panic. If Ling Xiao really defeated the Samsara Master or even killed him, what should they do? Don't panic. The Samsara Master will not lose. He has not used the Supreme Emperor weapon of the Samsara Temple. The clan leader of the Chinese tribe said in a low voice. There was a strange look in his eyes. End of chapter. Chapter 2834. The clan leader of the Hua tribe had a high prestige among the crowd. As soon as he spoke, the panicked crowd gradually calmed down. The Samsara Master was the temple master of the Samsara Temple. Not only had he comprehended the Samsara scripture, but he had also cultivated several powerful Supreme Emperor skills. He even had an ultimate Emperor weapon. It would not be easy for Ling Xiao to kill the Samsara Master. In the turbulence of the void, purple lightning flashed across the void. Like a thunder dragon, it struck the Samsara Master's chest viciously. In an instant, the Samsara Master's body was badly mangled and his bones were exposed. Even his aura became somewhat weak. Ling Xiao, do you really think you can kill me? 1000 reincarnation technique, die. The Samsara Master roared angrily. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. Ling Xiao's powerful attack not only severely injured him, but also made him lose all his dignity, making him feel extremely humiliated. He was an imperial emperor expert. How could he be beaten by a celestial master? He would become the laughingstock of the entire god world. Rumble. The Samsara Master's body emitted rings of strange light of reincarnation. Behind him, there seemed to be overlapping worlds. In each world, there was a figure of the Samsara Master. Tens of thousands of figures contained terrifying energy fluctuations. At this moment, as the light of reincarnation bloomed, they merged with the Samsara Master and caused the void to tremble violently. The aura of the Samsara Master began to soar in an instant. The Samsara Master threw a punch at Ling Xiao. It was as if tens of thousands of worlds were pressing down at the same time. It contained supreme power that could destroy everything. The 1000 reincarnation technique? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The 10,000 reincarnation technique was a forbidden technique in the secret arts of reincarnation. It contained the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It was the strongest attack that could be unleashed by fusing the 10,000 reincarnation true body. Using the 1000 reincarnation technique would not only cause one to suffer an unimaginable backlash, but it would also burn one's lifespan. The Samsara Master was forced to use the 1000 reincarnation technique because Ling Xiao had forced him to the extreme. Boom! Ling Xiao punched out in the air. Fist will gushed out mightily and collided with Samsara Master. An incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation erupted. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, felt that the Samsara Master's aura seemed to have increased by hundreds of times. His strength had also become incomparably strong. Ling Xiao's entire body shook violently as he was sent flying. Ling Xiao die. The Samsara Master roared. His eyes were extremely cold. He grew to a height of more than 10,000 feet in the void. He was like an indomitable giant. His voice boomed like thunder. His body was wrapped in a monstrous aura. Every strike contained a fatal power. He kept attacking Ling Xiao, covering the sky and covering the earth. It was as if he wanted to completely drown Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was like a small boat in a storm. He kept fighting the Samsara Master, but he seemed to be at a disadvantage. However, the Samsara Master did not cause any harm to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was still observing the Samsara Master's condition as he fought the Samsara Master. On the surface, Samsara Master looked cold and indifferent. His killing intent was boiling, but in his heart he was extremely anxious. Although the 10,000 reincarnation technique was powerful, it had a time limit. It could not allow him to grow stronger endlessly. However, Ling Xiao was like a loach. Although the Samsara Master suppressed Ling Xiao, he was still unable to cause any harm to Ling Xiao. This made the Samsara Master even more anxious. Boom! When the Samsara Master sent Ling Xiao flying again, he suddenly roared, "Restriction of the underworld, reincarnation lock, seal." Rays of blazing divine light shot out from the Samsara Master's body and merged with the reincarnation origin around him. They turned into powerful divine chains of order and instantly wrapped around Ling Xiao. At the same time, the glabella of the Samsara Master seemed to split open. Endless Supreme Emperor's aura gushed out from it. An ancient bronze coffin flew out. It contained an ancient and mysterious aura, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. The ancient bronze coffin instantly expanded to tens of thousands of feet in the void. It was like a huge bronze mountain pressing down on Ling Xiao from the sky. The Supreme Emperor weapon of the Samsara Temple, the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin. The Samsara Master was completely ruthless. He did not even care about his reputation as an emperor. He only wanted to kill Ling Xiao before the end of the 10,000 Lives Reincarnation Technique. He had to admit that he was extremely fearful of Ling Xiao. If they continued to fight, he was not sure if he could defeat Ling Xiao. "You're finally willing to use the Supreme Emperor weapon? I think the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin of the Samsara Temple can be used as a protective treasure for my Shui Wei," Ling Xiao said flatly. He looked extremely calm and his eyes were deep and bright. Purple divine light rose around him. In an instant, it burned like a raging flame. It was as if he had been reborn from the ashes. The divine chains of order that enveloped him were all burned by the purple flames. They began to shatter. In the end, they were all reduced to nothingness. Ling Xiao did not even take a look at them. He slapped out in the air and the heavenly majestic prison steel shot out in an instant. It exuded a mighty Supreme Emperor's aura. It also expanded to tens of thousands of feet tall and went against the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin. Gotcha! The heavenly majestic prison steel and the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin, the two Supreme Emperor weapons, finally collided in the void turbulence. It was as though there were billions of lightning bolts shooting out, releasing terrifying and eye-catching light. A blazing storm spread out and swept away the void turbulence. There seemed to be a vacuum around the heavenly majestic prison steel and the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin. "Samsara Master, do you think that you can kill me by using the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin? It's a pity that the Supreme Emperor weapon is in your hands. It's like a pearl covered in dust," Ling Xiao said flatly. The heaven's might was like the prison steel. It had been completely refined by him. Now that he had taken it out, it could be said that he could use it at will. It could erupt with unparalleled power. Even when facing the Six Paths of Reincarnation Coffin, it was still not weak. "Ling Xiao, given your cultivation level, how many times can you use the Supreme Emperor weapon without comprehending the origin of the Great Path? You should be proud that you can die under the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin today," the Samsara Master said coldly as he stared at Ling Xiao coldly. Rumble. The Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin pressed down on Ling Xiao once again. Moreover, the Six Paths Reincarnation Coffin emitted boundless light this time. The ancient runes on it seemed to have awakened. They shone brightly and the Supreme Emperor's aura gathered as though it was going to devour all vitality. After all, the Samsara Master was an imperial emperor. He could only unleash the true power of the Supreme Emperor weapon by using the origin of the Great Path to activate it. Although Ling Xiao could activate the heavenly majestic prison steel, its power was still weaker. "It's enough to kill you," Ling Xiao said coldly as he confronted the Samsara master. Even in the face of the powerful Six Paths reincarnation coffin, he was not afraid at all. He activated the heavenly majestic prison steel and charged forward. End of chapter. Chapter 28:35. Rumble. The heavenly might collided with the Six Paths reincarnation coffin in the void. These two extreme Dao monarch weapons were flawless monarch weapons that contained the source of the great Dao. At this moment, they exploded as if they had completely recovered. This was the battle between the heavenly prison emperor and the reincarnation emperor. Terrifying fluctuations passed through the turbulence of the void. The spectators were shocked by the extreme Dao emperor aura. They trembled and their hearts palpitated. As the two extreme Dao emperor weapons fought in the void, the battle between Ling Xiao and the reincarnation master became more intense. Ling Xiao's fighting spirit surged and there was a blazing light in his eyes that pierced through the void. Every punch seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth apart and destroy everything. There was a mysterious light brewing in his glabella. It contained a strange sharpness as if he was going to open his third eye at any time. Even the reincarnation master's heart palpitated. "What is that power?" The reincarnation master's heart trembled and he became more fearful of Ling Xiao. Rumble. Chaotic mist rose around Ling Xiao. At the same time, he exuded a mysterious and ethereal aura of destiny, accompanied by the power of karma and reincarnation. Chaos, destiny, karma, and reincarnation. The four powers entangled and intertwined around Ling Xiao. In the end, they merged into one. The third eye in Ling Xiao's glabella opened instantly. Blazing lightning bloomed and the four-colored light streaked across the void. It contained a supreme aura and power that seemed to be able to dictate the life and death of all living things. In an instant, it pierced through the void and shot toward the reincarnation master. Ling Xiao's timing was perfect. When the power of the reincarnation master's 1,000 lives reincarnation faded, the four-colored light streaked across Ling Xiao's glabella. The power of domination. It was an extremely mysterious power that Ling Xiao had formed after combining chaos, destiny, karma, and reincarnation. It had been nurtured in his glabella all this time. The destructive power of domination was terrifying, but it took a long time to nurture. Therefore, Ling Xiao had never used the power of domination. The reincarnation master could be said to be the first person to try Ling Xiao's power of domination. What? The reincarnation master's body trembled and he looked as if he had seen a ghost. He was extremely fearful. The power of domination made him feel the threat of death. Rumble. Blazing light gushed out of the Samsara master's body. The vast Samsara origin erupted like it was free, condensing into an incomparably powerful enchantment in front of the Samsara master. At this moment, his scalp was numb, and his eyes were filled with incomparable shock. He only wanted to get as far away from that sovereign's power as possible. Puff! The power of domination condensed by the four-colored light beam looked light and ethereal, as if it had no aura of smoke or fire. It contained a kind of transcendent power fluctuation and instantly penetrated the enchantment in front of the Samsara master. The Samsara master's body shook violently. After the power of the sovereign pierced through his chest, his physical body started to crumble. The life origin in his body was like a deflated balloon, gushing wildly out of his body. In the end, the physical body of the Samsara master exploded in the void and turned into a bloody mist, leaving only the primordial spirit of the Samsara master. Rumble. The Samsara master's eyes were filled with panic. Blazing divine light gushed out of his body, and the majestic life origin gathered, once again condensing into a physical body. However, his eyes were full of shock and anger as he looked at Ling Xiao. The power of domination was even more terrifying than the origin of the Great Path, causing him to suffer an unimaginable injury in an instant. The aura around his body was rapidly weakening. The power of the sovereign had directly cut off the origin of his reincarnation Great Path, causing his cultivation to fall rapidly. He began to fall towards the celestial venerate realm. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. The Samsara master trembled all over, and his eyes were filled with incomparable hatred. The power of domination had not only caused him to suffer a serious injury, but it had also directly destroyed his Taoist foundation. He was about to go crazy. Rumble. At this moment, the sarcophagus of the 6 paths of reincarnation suddenly shone with resplendent light. The lid of the sarcophagus of the 6 paths of reincarnation opened with a bang and a small black flag flew out. It expanded in the air and split into 12, directly surrounding Ling Xiao and enveloping her. The heavenly capital divine killing flag of the Chinese? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He had not expected the heavenly capital divine killing flag of the Chinese to be in the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin. After the heavenly capital divine killing flag fell, the 12 heavenly capital divine killing formation was instantly formed. A figure with a terrifying aura emerged from the turbulence of the void. From the air, he slammed his palm down on Ling Xiao. The destructive power in his palm rose, as if to destroy all life. At this moment, the Samsara master also pounced on Ling Xiao crazily. He condensed many rune chains, which wrapped around Ling Xiao's body. The heavenly might was like a prison monument, but it was blocked by the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin. The heavenly capital divine killing flag exploded with the power of the Supreme Emperor formation. The sudden appearance of the terrifying figure, coupled with the frenzied Samsara master, caused Ling Xiao to fall into a desperate situation almost instantly. Another imperial monarch expert. And it's a Chinese imperial emperor. You guys have really put in a lot of effort to kill me. Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely cold as he spoke slowly. In the face of the intertwining terrifying killing intent, Ling Xiao's eyes showed no signs of fear. In an instant, the time compass flew out from between his eyebrows and shone brightly above his head. It was as mysterious as the sun. Freeze. Ling Xiao softly spat out a single word. In that instant, the mysterious river of time seemed to have solidified, forming a time-still domain around him. Whether it was the heavenly capital divine killing flag, the Chinese imperial emperor, or the Samsara master, they could not help but tremble. They were slowed down for a breath's time but recovered quickly. However, this breath's time was enough for Ling Xiao to do a lot of things. Buzz. Ling Xiao's palm glowed brightly and the 10,000 demons banner appeared in his palm. In an instant, an unparalleled emperor's aura erupted. He leaped up and slashed down at the Samsara master. What? 3 supreme emperor weapons. The Samsara master trembled and looked as if he had seen a ghost. Rumble. The 10,000 demons flag in Ling Xiao's hands seemed to have turned into a ferocious saber. The saber radiance was extremely sharp and the Samsara master seemed to have become a soft persimmon in Ling Xiao's eyes. Ling Xiao slashed the Samsara master into pieces with the 10,000 demons flag in his hand. In the void, blood rained down and divine light blazed. The Samsara master's body was once again slashed into pieces by Ling Xiao. End of chapter. Chapter 28-36. Rumble. The Samsara master was blasted into pieces by the myriad demons banner. Blood rained down from the sky as the great Tao laws intertwined with each other. Blazing divine light soared into the sky. The 6 paths of reincarnation coffin emitted a blazing light and blasted the prison tablet away. Then, it flew across the sky and protected the primordial spirit of the Samsara master. When the myriad demons banner hit the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin, there was an earth-shattering explosion and the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin was blasted away. If the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin had not protected the primordial spirit of the Samsara master, his primordial spirit would have been destroyed by the myriad demons banner. The Samsara master's eyes were filled with terror. Under the protection of the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin, he instantly distanced himself from Ling Xiao. Rumble. On the other side, the Chinese emperor also broke through the time-stop territory and blasted the time compass away with the Tiandu divine slaughter flag. However, he did not expect the Samsara Master's physical body to be destroyed by Ling Xiao. His face instantly turned ghastly pale. Ling Xiao, you deserve to die. The Chinese emperor's eyes were cold. Blazing light pierced through the void, and he exuded a terrifying aura that was even stronger than the Samsara Master's aura. I've long since known that you despicable and shameless people would stop at nothing in order to kill me. As a Chinese emperor, you hid in the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin like a mouse and waited for an opportunity to kill me. Unfortunately, you didn't get what you wanted. Ling Xiao said flatly. His eyes were extremely sharp and blazing sword radiance seemed to burst out. Rumble. The prison steel, the time compass, and the 10,000 demon banner floated above his head and released their majestic emperor's might, causing his aura to become extremely terrifying. Ling Xiao was surrounded by blazing purple clouds and chaotic fog. It was as if he was surrounded by a dazzling galaxy and exuded an invincible aura. The Chinese imperial emperor was a handsome middle-aged man. His face was cold and his eyes were as sharp as lightning. His body was surrounded by lightning bolts and runes. His mighty emperor aura burst out, causing the surrounding void turbulence to distort. How dare the Chinese emperor be so shameless? Do you really think we are afraid of you? Kill. Today we will kill all the 8 superforces and leave no one alive. Liu Bai's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was furious and he went completely berserk. The War God Temple, Long Outyin, Old Goat, Enai Shang and the others, and terrifying aura intertwined as if they were ready to attack at any time, and they were also shocked. No one would have thought that the Chinese imperial emperor would hide in the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin during a fair battle between the Samsara Master and Ling Xiao. He was waiting for an opportunity to strike and kill Ling Xiao. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao's monstrous strength and the fact that he wielded 3 extreme Dao Emperor weapons, he would have been instantly killed by the 2 imperial emperors who wielded 2 extreme Dao Emperor weapons. Liu was master. Ling Xiao and the Master of Samsara had a fair fight. The Master of Samsara had a great advantage in the first place as a celestial venerable against an imperial emperor. Now, even a Hua imperial emperor had joined the fight. The so-called fair fight was a joke. Although the experts from the 8 superpowers did not say anything, their eyes were filled with disappointment. They did not expect Ling Xiao to be so tough. 2 emperors could not kill him. It would be great if the Chinese emperor had killed Ling Xiao just now. Now they were in a dilemma. The War God Temple was going crazy. A big battle was inevitable. The Chinese emperor's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao immediately, but he also felt that it was difficult to deal with. Ling Xiao, you won this battle. The Samsara Master was defeated by you. Let's forget about our grudges. We will not interfere with each other's business from now on. The Chinese emperor suppressed his murderous intent and said coldly, Forget about our grudges? You're not dreaming, are you? I don't believe that you don't know about my bet with the Samsara Master. It's a life and death battle. The winner will live and the loser will die. If the Samsara Master loses, he and the 8 superforces will die. Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he said without giving in. Ling Xiao, do you really want to fight to the death? Even though you have 3 extreme Dao Emperor armaments, how long can you last with your cultivation? If I attack, do you believe that I can kill all the heavenly masters under your command? The human tribe cannot afford such a huge loss. Do you really want to be the sinner of the human tribe? The Chinese emperor stared at Ling Xiao and said with a deep gaze, Don't flatter me. I don't represent anyone. If you want to kill me, you have to pay the price. Now you know that the human tribe cannot afford such a huge loss? It's too late. You brought all of this upon yourselves. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with coldness and his voice was firm. Moreover, fight to the death? I'm afraid you have overestimated yourself. Since you don't follow the rules, don't blame me for being rude. As soon as Ling Xiao finished speaking, scorching light immediately rose up from the chaotic streams of space. The space shook, and 4 figures appeared in a vast group. There was an ancient roar that sounded like a dragon, a tiger, a phoenix, and a crane. In the endless void turbulence, a white tiger exuded a murderous aura, a phoenix was surrounded by blazing flames, a qilin exuded a five-colored divine light, and a black tortoise was overturning rivers and seas. Four old silhouettes slowly appeared, exuding an undefeatable aura. Who are you people? The Hua Imperial Emperor's face changed instantly, and his eyes were filled with horror. The four figures were the four Imperial Emperors. As soon as they appeared in the void turbulence, they created a terrifying domain and locked the Hua Imperial Emperors in place. Seniors, I'll leave this Hua Imperial Emperor to you. It's best if you can capture him alive. If you can't, just kill him. Ling Xiao bowed to the four figures and smiled. The four old figures were the four patriarchs of the White Tiger tribe, the Phoenix tribe, the Qilin tribe, and the Black Tortoise tribe. Ling Xiao returned the origin secret technique to the four sacred clans, and the patriarchs of the four sacred clans promised to help Ling Xiao once. Now that the Chinese emperor had completely infuriated Ling Xiao did not hesitate and summoned the patriarchs of the four sacred clans. Today, he was determined to complete the magnificent feat of killing an emperor. The third sect leader. Chapter 2837. Everyone in the outside world was stunned. Ling Xiao actually summoned four great emperors? How is that possible? Everyone's voice was trembling, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. That's four imperial monarchs. If Ling Xiao had summoned four great emperors earlier, the 8 superpowers would have been wiped out long ago. Ling Xiao is really sinister. I think he's fishing. He really did bait the great emperors out. I'm afraid the 8 superpowers are doomed this time. Could it be that they're all going to die here? Everyone's eyes were filled with respect, and they were trembling all over. They finally felt that Ling Xiao was unfathomable. The Heaven's Chosen One's luck was too terrifying. Just when everyone thought that this was Ling Xiao's trump card, Ling Xiao pulled out another powerful trump card that shocked everyone. For great imperial monarchs, what kind of monstrous strength was this? On the other hand, the 8 superpowers looked as if their parents had died. Their faces were extremely ugly. Finally, someone panicked and was no longer as arrogant as before. Some of them even had the thought of retreating. How could they fight this battle? Brothers, we can't let any of them leave. These people dare to offend the great Heaven's Chosen One, the Lord of Demons, and the Chaos Lord. They are simply courting death. All of them must die. The white dragon horse trembled, looking arrogant and domineering. It shouted at the crowd with a complacent look on its face. It no longer had the slightest thought of going against Ling Xiao. It had to hug Ling Xiao's thigh tightly. The white dragon horse decided that it would obediently be Ling Xiao's mount in the future. Being a mount was a very promising job. If there was anyone who was most likely to become the 10th emperor of the human race, it would undoubtedly be Ling Xiao. When Ling Xiao became an emperor, as Ling Xiao's mount, the white dragon horse would be able to shake the heavens. That kind of prestige made the white dragon horse extremely excited. No one paid any attention to the white dragon horse, but naturally, they all released a powerful aura at the same time, locking the many powerhouses of the 8 superforces in place. Once they dared to make the slightest move, he would immediately unleash a thunderous attack and bury them all here. The atmosphere in the War God Temple instantly became tense. In the void turbulence, the 4 patriarchs locked onto the Hua Imperial Emperor. Ling Xiao, you really know how to cause trouble. There are actually 2 great sovereign emperors coming to kill you. It seems like your social relations are really bad. The white tiger old ancestor was an old man with a head of white hair and a body covered in animal skin. He looked very wild as he teased Ling Xiao. He's really good at causing trouble. However, there were always many hypocritical and shameless people in the human race. These 2 old things actually dared to sneak attack a junior? How shameless! Damn it! The Phoenix clan ancestor, an old woman with a walking stick, sneered. Her eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Ling Xiao, you're really generous. You've used up all the favors that the four of us owe you in one go. But that's fine too. Now that we've returned the favor, the four of us can relax a lot. Don't worry. This old thing can't run away. Today, we'll kill him for you. The Qilin clan ancestor and the Black Tortoise clan ancestor snickered as they looked at the Hua Imperial Emperor with malicious eyes. Then, I'll have to trouble the four of you. Today, I'm going to start a massacre. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, but his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Ling Xiao didn't feel that it was a pity to use up the favor of the four patriarchs. It wouldn't be long before Ling Xiao could take the final step and touch the Supreme Emperor realm. By then, he wouldn't need the four patriarchs to help him. Moreover, the Hua Imperial Emperor's strength was obviously stronger than the Reincarnation Master. Ling Xiao felt that he should have reached the second heaven of the Imperial Emperor realm. With Ling Xiao's current combat strength, it would be difficult for him to kill the Hua Imperial Emperor. Although Ling Xiao looked calm on the surface, he was completely enraged by the despicable and shameless behavior of the 8 superpowers. Today, he was going to start a massacre. All the enemies who came to attack the War God Temple had to die. You're the patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans? I didn't expect you to still be alive. You want to kill me? Do you think you can? Who dares to stop me if I want to leave today? The Hua Imperial Emperor's face was extremely ugly, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Boom! The heavenly capital Divine Fiend flag landed in his hand and released a dazzling light. It seemed like the 12 heavenly capital Divine Fiend formation had been formed around him. It seemed to have been completely awakened and released a vast Emperor's aura. He was ready to kill his way out. No one knew better than him how terrifying the patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans were. Speaking of which, the Hua Imperial Emperor was a few generations younger than the patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans. Now that the patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans were attacking at the same time, he was definitely no match for them. However, with the heavenly capital Divine Fiend flag in his hand, it shouldn't be difficult for him to escape. Seniors, I'll lend you the 10,000 demon banner. You must kill the Hua Imperial Emperor. Ling Xiao said calmly. The 10,000 demon banner released a dazzling light, and the vast Emperor's aura intertwined. It instantly flew towards the 4 patriarchs. The 10,000 demon banner. TSK, that's the demon Emperor's emperor weapon. It's a treasure that suppresses the fate of the demon realm. You're clearly a human. How did you become the lord of 10,000 demons? I have to say, the fate of the Chosen One is really infuriating. Don't worry, this old man won't be able to escape. The White Tiger Old Ancestor took the 10,000 demon banner. His eyes were filled with emotion and envy as he spoke in a carefree manner. You want to kill me? Dream on. Get lost if you don't want to die. Those who stand in my way shall die. The Hua Imperial Emperor's expression changed as he roared. Rumble! Blazing divine light rose around him as he held the heavenly capital Divine Fiend flag in his hand. He released a vast Emperor's aura and was about to charge into the distance. He wanted to break out of the encirclement of the 4 Imperial Emperors and escape from this place. You want to leave? Hee hee, you'd better stay here for me. The White Tiger Old Ancestor chuckled. Killing intent surged in his eyes, and his fighting spirit soared to the sky. The 10,000 demon banner in his hand waved in the void. In an instant, chaotic fog filled the air, and divine light rose. It was as if a mysterious scene of the opening of the world had appeared. Rumble! The 10,000 demon banner covered the sky as it swept across the void and pressed down on the Hua Imperial Emperor. The White Tiger Patriarch, the Phoenix Patriarch, the Qilin Patriarch, and the Black Tortoise Patriarch unleashed their strongest Emperor's aura and charged towards the Hua Imperial Emperor. An extremely intense battle broke out between the 5 Imperial Emperors in the void turbulence. Reincarnation Master, you'd better stay here. Ling Xiao sneered when he saw the Reincarnation Master trying to take the 6 paths of Reincarnation Coffin and escape. Rumble! The Emperor's aura swept across the sky and pressed down on the 6 paths of Reincarnation Coffin like a huge mountain. At the same time, the chronocompass released a dazzling light. A long river of time crossed the void and intertwined with each other. The runes were dazzling as if they had frozen the time in this area. Once again, it evolved into the time prohibition territory. The two extreme Dao Emperor weapons flew out at the same time. Ling Xiao also flew out and threw a punch at the Samsara Master, the third sect leader. Chapter 28:38. Lord Kunwu, are you really not going to intervene? The Lord of Samsara and the Patriarch of the Chinese are both imperial emperors. If they die in Ling Xiao's hands, it will be a great loss to the human race. Above the God world, in the endless chaotic void, a handsome middle-aged man in a Taoist robe sighed softly. His eyes revealed a trace of pity. Beside him, a mysterious figure was shrouded in a chaotic mist. Although his face could not be seen clearly, he was tall like an immemorial mountain and seemed to be able to support the chaos. Especially his eyes, they were bright and ancient, and they seemed to contain the marks of countless years. They flowed with the mark of the Grand Tao, and they were heavy and eternal like a mountain. Jiang Yuyang, you have to understand that the human race needs them, but they don't need the human race. Lord Kunwu said flatly. So I understand too. They really deserve to die. For their own selfish interests, they had to kill the chosen one of the human race. However, they are imperial emperors after all. The Great Tribulation is coming and the human race is still too weak. Jiang Yuyang said with a sigh. He understood what Lord Kunwu meant. Lord Kunwu did not intend to intervene in this battle. Furthermore, Lord Kunwu wanted to use the Lord of Samsara and the Imperial Emperor of the Chinese as whetstones for Ling Xiao. Speaking of which, Lord Kunwu really valued Ling Xiao. The human race has been weak for a long time. We still need to strive for self-improvement. The human race has been too peaceful these years. Without the threat of external enemies, without the bloody battles, it's impossible for a great emperor to emerge. The Great Tribulation is a disaster for the human race, but it's also an opportunity. If a great emperor emerges, he'll be stronger than 1,000 or even 10,000 imperial emperors. Lord Kunwu said flatly. I understand. I hope this battle can teach the immortal sacred grounds a lesson. Jiang Yuyang said with a nod. Jiang Yuyang, you're about to undergo the imperial emperor tribulation, right? It's not enough for the sloppy old man to protect you. After this battle, go find Ling Xiao and ask him to protect you. He should be able to help you break through safely. I'm going to make a trip there. Lord Kunwu said slowly. All right. Has the situation worsened again? Jiang Yuyang's expression changed. No. It should be that the Immemorial Emperor Road is about to open again. This should be the last time the Immemorial Emperor Road opens before the myriad worlds completely merge. This time, a great fortune will appear. This might be the human race's greatest opportunity. You can tell Ling Xiao that he's qualified to challenge the Immemorial Emperor Road. Lord Kunwu said, The Immemorial Emperor Road? The road to become an emperor? Good. You're right. Ling Xiao's Ling. However, his cultivation and accumulations are still lacking. I hope that when the Immemorial Emperor Road opens, he will be able to take another step forward. Jiang Yuyang's body trembled as he took a deep breath. There was a hint of anticipation in his eyes. Chaotic void. The Samsara Master's expression changed drastically when he saw Ling Xiao charging at him. His body had been destroyed twice by Ling Xiao, and he'd even been struck by Ling Xiao's sovereign energy. His cultivation was practically on the verge of dropping from the imperial monarch realm, so how could he possibly be a match for Ling Xiao? He just wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. Rumble. However, the two extreme monarch weapons, prison steel and time compass, soared through the sky. Their extreme monarch auras intertwined and pressed down on the six paths reincarnation coffin, causing it to tremble violently. Samsara Master's primordial spirit wanted to use the six paths of reincarnation coffin to break through the void and escape, but it was difficult to do so. Samsara Master, don't waste your energy. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He punched the air. The purple fist contained the power to destroy everything. In an instant, it enveloped Samsara Master's primordial spirit. Ling Xiao, you dare to kill me? My Samsara old ancestor won't let you go. The primordial spirit of the Samsara Master roared. His eyes were filled with terror. In the end, he still couldn't escape the great fear of death. Samsara Master had cultivated to the Imperial Emperor realm with great difficulty. How could he be willing to die in Ling Xiao's hands? Samsara old ancestor? If he doesn't know what's good for him, I'll send him to see you. But today, no one can save you. Ling Xiao's face was indifferent. The purple fist came down. Crack. Samsara Master's primordial spirit trembled violently. The protective boundary formed by the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin trembled as if it would break at any time. But with the suppression of the prison steel and the time compass, the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin could no longer protect Samsara Master. A trace of fear appeared in Samsara Master's eyes. Ling Xiao, let me go. I won't be your enemy anymore. Don't kill me. I'm an imperial emperor of the human tribe. I can resist the invasion of the demon tribe. Under the threat of death, Samsara Master spoke with great difficulty. There was a trace of pleading in his eyes. He was completely afraid. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die like this. A trace of regret appeared in his heart. If he hadn't been Ling Xiao's enemy, he wouldn't have ended up like this. It's too late. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Boom. The powerful boundary formed by the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin shattered. Ling Xiao's unparalleled fist came down and directly hit Samsara Master's primordial spirit. Samsara Master's primordial spirit trembled violently and finally shattered. Rumble. Boundless sky-devouring fire rose from Ling Xiao's palm. In an instant, it enveloped Samsara Master's shattered primordial spirit and wiped out Samsara Master's primordial spirit and consciousness. Samsara Master was dead. In the God world, heaven and earth shook and the void roared. The great path precepts descended and blood rained down from the sky. It was as if they were crying for Samsara Master's death. Imperial emperors had touched the origin of the great path. Their every move contained the great path of heaven and earth. Therefore, after they died, they would naturally trigger the great path of heaven and earth. Samsara Master has died? In the God world, everyone's eyes were filled with horror. Although they had expected this, seeing Samsara Master killed by Ling Xiao with their own eyes was still extremely shocking. An Imperial Emperor expert had died at Ling Xiao's hands just like that. Rumble. Ling Xiao took a step forward and returned from the turbulence of the void. He reappeared in the sky above the God world. His entire body exuded a mighty aura, as dazzling as the sun. No one dared to look him in the eyes. They lowered their heads and their eyes were filled with reverence. The master of Samsara is dead. Everyone listen to my orders. Kill all the invaders from the 8 super forces. Ling Xiao's eyes were cold. His gaze fell on the numerous experts from the 8 super forces who were in a panic. He gave the order forcefully. Obey the order of the Master of Demons. Kill. Obey the order of the Master of Chaos. Kill. The army of holy masters and sages under Ling Xiao's command roared. Their eyes were filled with fanatical worship. Their fighting spirit was soaring. In an instant, like a torrent, they charged toward the experts from the 8 super forces. Bang! Chapter 2839. Rumble. An intense battle broke out in the sky above the War God Hall. Ling Xiao's 30 over heavenly masters led an army of more than 100,000 sages and formed a powerful battle formation. They surrounded the top powers of the 8 super forces and wanted to kill them all. As for the experts of the 8 super forces, their faces were filled with panic. They did not have the slightest bit of fighting spirit. All they wanted to do was to escape from this place. Retreat. Let's go. Ling Xiao, are you really going to fight us to the death? The holy masters of the 7 super forces all had ugly expressions on their faces. Their eyes were filled with shock and anger as they roared at the crowd. They knew that they had lost this battle completely. Even the reincarnation master had died in Ling Xiao's hands. The Emperor King of the Hua tribe was besieged by the old ancestors of the 4 sacred tribes, and no one knew if he was dead or alive. If they stayed to fight, they would be annihilated in the end. Boom, boom, boom. Powerful Extreme Tao Emperor weapons soared into the sky and intertwined with dazzling Extreme Tao Emperor aura. Their auras were extremely terrifying and caused the surrounding void to tremble violently. 6 powerful Extreme Tao Emperor weapons appeared in the void. The 6 sacred masters activated the Extreme Tao Emperor weapons at the same time and wanted to create a void passage to allow the top powers to leave. You want to leave? Do you think the War God Hall is a place where you can come and go as you please? Long Outyen sneered coldly. Rumble. In an instant, with Long Outyen taking the lead, the top powers of the 5 sacred tribes activated the 5 Extreme Tao Emperor weapons at the same time. 5 illusory figures of sacred beasts appeared in the void. The roars of dragons and tigers were ancient and mysterious as they exuded a majestic aura. Lu Bai also activated the Heavenly Emperor's seal. It was like an ancient sacred mountain that suppressed the chaos. Its aura was ancient and majestic, as if it could suppress everything. Similarly, the 6 Extreme Tao Emperor weapons rushed forward to fight against the 6 great Saint Masters. Their Extreme Tao Emperor auras collided with each other, destroying everything. The void shattered like a mirror. The 12 Extreme Tao Emperor weapons clashed in the void. In an instant, everything was annihilated. A terrifying void storm swept out, engulfing everything. The void passageway was instantly destroyed. Under the collision of the 12 Extreme Tao Emperor weapons, the experts from the 8 super forces were unable to leave. Freeze! A gleam of light flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes. The time compass immediately flew out from his hand and began to revolve. It directly enveloped the entire War God Hall, forming a vast time barrier. Although Ling Zhao didn't mind starting a war in the War God's temple, he didn't want the War God's temple to be destroyed. Hence, he used the time compass to protect the War God's temple. Rumble. As for the heavenly might, it was like a prison steel that soared through the sky and directly smashed towards the 7 Saint Masters. It contained a monstrous divine might. The expressions of the 7 Saint Lords were extremely ugly. Their eyes were filled with fear as they felt a fatal killing intent from Ling Zhao's body. They frantically activated their Extreme Tao Emperor auras, wanting to block the heavenly might that was like a prison steel. However, the 6 Extreme Tao Emperor weapons were firmly trapped by Long Outyen and the others. Ling Zhao's eyes were incomparably cold. He soared through the sky and a terrifying aura rose around him. Purple fist imprints swept out in all directions, containing a murderous intent that could annihilate everything. Boom! One of the utmost Tao Emperor experts couldn't dodge in time and was directly smashed into a bloody pulp by the heavenly might. Instantly, he exploded into a rain of blood in the void. Ling Zhao soared through the void and unleashed his peerless combat strength. The heavenly might crashed into the bodies of the Saint Masters. The Saint Masters trembled violently and coughed out blood. They quickly retreated. However, Ling Zhao's unparalleled fist imprints came crashing down. The Saint Master of the Darkness Heavenly Sect couldn't dodge in time, and Ling Zhao's fist imprints pierced through his chest. Boom! Blazing flames rose. The Saint Master of the Darkness Heavenly Sect was burned by the heaven-devouring fire that spewed out from Ling Zhao's palm. He let out a miserable shriek and was instantly turned into ashes. As for his primordial spirit, it was devoured by Ling Zhao's heaven-devouring secret skill. Although Ling Zhao's cultivation had reached the heavenly honorable realm, he still needed to accumulate a lot of power to take that final step. In Ling Zhao's eyes, although the 8 supreme experts deserved to die, they were more like nourishment to him. Their great Tao nomological principles and holy Tao origins were the best nourishment for Ling Zhao to reach a higher realm. Boom! 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 Ling Zhao soared through the void as a terrifying aura rose around him. He continuously attacked the Saint Masters. Although the Saint Masters were powerful and wielded Extreme Tao Emperor weapons, they were no match for Ling Zhao. Ling Zhao, let us go. We promise that we'll never be your enemy again. Ling Zhao, as long as you spare my life, I'm willing to submit to you. Lord Ling Xiao, please don't kill me. The few sacred lords and powerful heavenly venerates, who were usually high and mighty, had looks of horror in their eyes as they begged Ling Xiao for mercy. They could feel the threat of death. They didn't want to die here in such a sullen manner. Boom! However, Ling Xiao's eyes were cold and he didn't show any mercy. Every punch contained the supreme power that could destroy an era. The Saint Masters died under his peerless punches. Their physical bodies turned into ashes, and their primordial spirits and holy Tao origins became nourishment for Ling Xiao. They were devoured by Ling Xiao. Not long after, the 7 Saint Masters were completely killed by Ling Xiao. After devouring the holy Tao origins and primordial spirits of the 7 Saint Masters, the power of Ling Xiao's primordial spirit increased by a few times. His body was filled with boundless power, and the terrifying fluctuations caused the surrounding void to tremble violently. Ling Xiao's body spewed out purple divine light. His aura was terrifying to the extreme. The explosive power made his battle intent burn even brighter as he charged towards those experts. In this intense battle, Ling Xiao's entire body seemed to be sublimated. The aura around him grew stronger and stronger, and an invincible aura filled the air. It was as though he had become the center of this world. No one dared to look at him directly. "Ah, spare me. Run, Ling Xiao isn't the chosen one. He's a demon. He's a traitor to the human race." Cries of agony rang out in the sky above the war god hall. Some were begging for mercy, while others were cursing Ling Xiao. However, no matter how they screamed, they couldn't escape from this hellish battlefield. With Ling Xiao in the lead, Long Outyan, Old Goat, and Ai Shang, and many other experts charged out together. Their eyes were cold, and their killing intent soared. They exploded with their strongest power and launched an overwhelming massacre. The entire sky above the war god hall was filled with the thick smell of blood. Broken limbs flew everywhere, and everyone was badly mutilated. The scene was extremely horrifying. Third Sect Master. Chapter 2840. Almost all the people who were watching the battle were scared out of their wits. Even if there were some people who stayed behind, their faces were pale, and their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. They had not expected Ling Xiao to be so ruthless. Not only did he kill the Reincarnation Master, but he also wanted to kill all the experts from the 8 super forces. The 7 Holy Masters were all killed by Ling Xiao even though they had Emperor weapons. The remaining experts were like turtles in a jar. Without a leader, it was only a matter of time before they were defeated. Does Ling Xiao really want to kill all the 8 super forces? He's too ruthless. These are the elite experts from the Chinese and the various immortal sacred grounds. They are also the pillars of the human race. If they die here, the human race's strength will be greatly reduced. Someone discussed softly, full of dissatisfaction with Ling Xiao. "I'm afraid no one can stop him. Ling Xiao is too ruthless." Blood flowed like a river in the war god shrine. After this battle, his name will spread throughout the realm of the gods and even the myriad of worlds. The Chosen One? This is the Chosen One? How is he different from an evil demon with such a ruthless character? The spectators were all very dissatisfied with Ling Xiao. Some of them even had looks of resentment in their eyes. However, there were also people who expressed different opinions. The 8 great superpowers only have themselves to blame for ending up in such a state today. If they hadn't coveted Ling Xiao's treasures and inheritance, how could Ling Xiao have been so ruthless? That's right. They asked for it. If others wanted to kill you, would you be soft-hearted and let them go? If it were me, I wouldn't let them go either. However, after this battle, no one in the realm of the gods will dare to go against Ling Xiao. Not only is Ling Xiao's combat strength incredible, but he also has such a terrifying force. I'm afraid Ling Xiao and the War God Shrine will shine in the realm of the gods. The Chaotic Heaven Sect, Destiny Shrine, and Myriad Buddha Temple who have remained neutral should feel lucky, right? If they had come today, they would have suffered the same fate. That's hard to say. The Chaotic Heaven Sect, Destiny Shrine, and Myriad Buddha Temple are all immortal sacred grounds with Emperor Realm experts. If they had joined the battle today, the outcome would be hard to say. Speaking of which, the Destiny Shrine seemed to have offended Ling Xiao before. 200 years ago, the Destiny Shrine had contributed a lot in the battle at Ling Xiao Mountain Range. I wonder if Ling Xiao will pursue the matter with the Destiny Shrine. Everyone was discussing animatedly. The sight of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood shocked them. At the same time, they thought of many things, including the possible impact of this battle. From today onwards, the entire structure of the God Realm was going to change. Ling Xiao had already matured into a supreme expert who played an important role in the divine realm. No one dared to covet him anymore. Ling Xiao used this earth-shattering battle to establish his supreme position. The 6 powerful Extreme Dao Emperor weapons and the 6 Paths reincarnation coffin in the void had lost control after Ling Xiao killed the Holy Masters. They broke through the void and flew back to the immortal sacred grounds. The Extreme Dao Emperor weapons were the supreme treasures of the sacred grounds. The Holy Masters only had temporary rights to use them and they were not their owners. Therefore, after the Holy Masters were defeated, the Extreme Dao Emperor weapons flew back to the immortal sacred grounds. Ling Xiao did not stop them as he knew that the Extreme Dao Emperor weapons had their own weapon spirits and they had their own wills. He could not subdue the Extreme Dao Emperor weapons yet. However, the death of the Holy Masters and the return of the Extreme Dao Emperor weapons sped up the defeat of the 8 super forces. In the void, divine light flashed. One by one, figures burst forth with terrifying auras and charged towards the experts of the 8 super forces. Du Guqiubai, Yi Liangchen, Yi Qingqing and the others did not hesitate and attacked fiercely. There was no suspense in the battle. Soon, the battle ended. 24 heavenly venerables died in the battle. Almost half of the thousands of sage kings died in the battle. The remaining sage kings all knelt down and begged for mercy. They managed to keep their lives temporarily. More than 10,000 great sages and sages were severely injured. Only around 2,000 sages were left. They were trembling and surrounded by Ling Xiao's army of sages. They also chose to surrender. Some of the 24 heavenly venerables chose to surrender. However, Ling Xiao did not accept their surrender and killed them all. Around the War God Hall, the land within a 100,000-mile radius had turned into a battlefield. The mountains and rivers were dyed red with blood. The air was filled with the stench of blood. The battle was extremely tragic. The enemies of the 8 superforces were completely annihilated. Rumble. Ling Xiao was like a bright sun that floated in the sky. His body emitted dazzling light and his aura was terrifying. The surrounding void was trembling violently. His body was filled with endless life origin energy. His life origin energy was as vast as the sea and extremely vigorous. Even imperial emperors might not be as vigorous as his life origin energy. More than half of the 24 heavenly venerables had their primordial spirits and holy Dao origins devoured by Ling Xiao. This made his aura even more unfathomable. This battle has saved me 1,000 years of hard work. Ling Xiao exclaimed in his heart. His eyes were extremely bright. He felt that he was one step closer to the Supreme God Realm. It was as if he could touch it. The remaining experts of the 8 superforces were all trembling. They did not dare to look at Ling Xiao. They chose to live in humiliation, but they did not know if Ling Xiao would let them live. Junior Marshal Uncle, you have killed enough people today. Why don't you spare them? Lu Bai whispered to Ling Xiao. He was afraid that Ling Xiao would go berserk and kill all those who chose to surrender. They can be spared from death, but they can't escape punishment. Ask them to hand over their primordial spirit imprints and submit to the elders and disciples of the War God Hall. They can be spared from death. Otherwise, let them all die. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes were extremely sharp. Many of the elders and disciples of the War God Hall looked at Ling Xiao with fervent admiration. After hearing Ling Xiao's words, someone couldn't help but exclaim, War God Ling Xiao is invincible. War God Ling Xiao is invincible. War god Ling Xiao is invincible. A series of voices rang out and resounded in the sky above the war god hall. They were filled with fanatical admiration. Ling Xiao's prestige instantly reached its peak. /book_62507/L. Chapter 2841. The void shattered with a loud bang. The patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans appeared above the war god hall, exuding a vast and unparalleled aura. Among them, the White Tiger Patriarch was holding the Hua clan emperor who was covered in blood. The Hua clan emperor looked extremely miserable. There were spiderweb-like cracks all over his body and his body was about to explode. He coughed out pale golden blood and his eyes were filled with anger. Not only was he severely injured, but he was also sealed by the patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans. Ling Xiao, you want him alive. The White Tiger Patriarch casually threw the Hua clan emperor to Ling Xiao's feet. The Hua clan emperor could not move like a dead dog and his eyes were filled with humiliation. The Hua clan emperor was captured alive? Someone exclaimed in a trembling voice. That was the Hua clan emperor who had broken through to the Imperial Emperor realm earlier than the Reincarnation Master. Now he was lying at Ling Xiao's feet like a dead dog. He looked extremely miserable and miserable. The patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans were so terrifying. Speaking of which, there was no suspense in this battle. The patriarchs of the 4 sacred clans were very ancient. In terms of seniority, they were several generations older than the Hua clan emperor. Their cultivation was unfathomable and each of them was more powerful than the Hua clan emperor. In addition, Ling Xiao had lent them the 10,000 demon banner to block the heavenly capital divine fiend flag of the Hua clan. The Hua clan imperial emperor was naturally no match for the 4 patriarchs. He couldn't even commit suicide and was captured alive. Thank you, seniors. Ling Xiao smiled and cupped his hands at the patriarchs. You're welcome. Kid, I'm afraid you'll surpass the 4 of us in no time. The humans are a bunch of hypocrites. I think you'd better be the Lord of Demons and lead billions of demons in the future and become the Demon Emperor. Wouldn't that be great? The White Tiger Patriarch handed the 10,000 Demons banner to Ling Xiao reluctantly and smiled. That's right. Ling Xiao, you have the ancestral dragon bloodline and should be a member of the Demon Clan. You should draw a clear line with the humans as soon as possible. Out of sight, out of mind. Otherwise, you'll be tricked by them all the time. The Phoenix clan ancestor also nodded. Senior, don't worry. I am me. I am Ling Xiao. I won't be controlled by them. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He naturally understood the meaning behind the words of the White Tiger ancestor and the Phoenix ancestor. However, Ling Xiao didn't care about this. Be it the chosen one of the human tribe or the Lord of infinite demons of the demon tribe, everything was meaningless in the face of the great tribulation of the new era. He just wanted to have enough power to protect the people he cared about. That was all. I'm glad you understand. Then we'll take our leave first. If you have time, come back to the demon realm and chat with us 4 old guys. The Qilin ancestor and the Black Tortoise ancestors smiled at Ling Xiao. Senior, take care. Ling Xiao agreed with a smile. The 4 ancestors were originally here to return Ling Xiao's favor. Now that they had captured the emperor of the Hua clan alive, there was no need for them to continue staying here. Ling Xiao opened a space tunnel with his heavenly might. The 4 ancestors turned around and entered the space tunnel, returning to the demon realm. Although the barrier of the divine realm had weakened by quite a bit, it wasn't that easy for a monarch expert to forcefully tear through the barrier. All of this was because of Ling Xiao's heavenly might, which was like a prison monument that could open up a void passage to the demon realm. As the emperor of the Hua clan was captured alive, the curtains of the battle had completely fallen. Ling Xiao had won a complete victory. Although the sage rulers and sages who were still alive were extremely unwilling, they still chose to compromise in the face of the threat of death and handed over their natal primordial spirit brands. Ling Xiao stepped into the void, radiating a dazzling light around him. His eyes were bright and dazzling. Under everyone's gaze, he suddenly shouted, From today onwards, anyone who dares to offend the War God Temple will be killed without mercy. The Hua clan, the Samsara Temple, the 9 Imperial Gates, the 5 Elements Celestial Sect, the Space-Time Heavenly Gate, the Heavenly Curse Sect, the Darkness Heavenly Sect, and the Annihilation Temple will give me an explanation within 3 days. You'll have to pay the price for besieging me and killing the disciples of the War God Temple. Otherwise, don't blame me for coming to punish you. Rumble. Ling Zhao's voice was like a sudden clap of thunder. It contained a vast amount of the great Tao and spread in all directions. Ling Zhao's voice seemed to reverberate in the vast 33 heavens of the God realm. What happened? Ling Xiao didn't die? Could it be that the 8 superpowers didn't manage to kill Ling Xiao? Someone raised his head, and his eyes were filled with bewilderment. Although many people had gone to the War God Temple to watch the battle, there were even more people who were afraid of being implicated and didn't go to the Shangqing Heaven domain. Moreover, many people believed that there was no suspense in this battle. Ling Xiao and the War God Temple would most likely disappear from the God realm from today onwards. However, Ling Zhao's voice caused everyone to be incomparably shocked. The majesty, mystery, and domineering aura contained in that voice made everyone tremble uncontrollably. It was as if he was a high and mighty ancient great emperor. Ling Xiao actually wanted the 8 superpowers to give him an explanation. Otherwise, he would come to punish them. Wasn't he afraid of the 8 superpowers' anger? What happened to the War God Temple? All kinds of communication methods were sent to the War God Temple. As the spectators of the War God Temple dispersed, the result of the battle spread rapidly. In an extremely short period of time, it spread across the 33 heavens and the entire God realm. The 8 superpowers besieged the War God Temple. Ling Xiao came out with 36 heavenly venerables and an army of more than 100,000 saints. He surrounded the experts of the 8 superpowers and shocked the world. Ling Xiao and the Reincarnation Master had a fair fight. Ling Xiao killed the Reincarnation Master in the Void Turbulence, setting the record of a heavenly venerate slaying an imperial emperor. The Chinese imperial emperor came out of the 6 paths of reincarnation coffin and attacked Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was enraged and summoned 4 imperial emperors to kill the Chinese imperial emperor. Ling Xiao killed 7 Saint Lords in a row and ordered the experts under his command to kill all the enemies of the 8 super forces. Ling Xiao won the battle of the War God Temple. The 8 superpowers were annihilated. The news spread out one after another. It was incomparably shocking. In an instant, the entire divine world began to tremble. Those were the 8 superpowers. The Chinese were the descendants of great Emperor Tiandu. The 8 superpowers' full strength was enough to set off an earth-shattering war with the demon realm. However, no one expected that not only did the 8 superpowers fail to kill Ling Xiao, but they were also annihilated. The news of this battle was too shocking, especially the fact that Ling Xiao had 36 heavenly venerables and an army of more than 100,000 saints under his command. This shocked everyone and stunned the entire God realm. What kind of terrifying force was this? This news made their entire bodies tremble even more than Ling Xiao slaughtering 8 great Empyrean powerhouses in succession, and their hearts trembled endlessly. 200 years had passed, and Ling Xiao was still the same Ling Xiao who dominated the world. The difference was that he was no longer alone this time. He had 36 heavenly venerables and an army of more than 100,000 saints. His appearance shook the entire God realm. Chapter 2842. In the Battle of the War God Temple, many experts from the 8 superforces were annihilated. The Reincarnation Master was killed by Ling Xiao and the Chinese Emperor was captured alive by Ling Xiao. Moreover, Ling Xiao had announced that he wanted the 8 superforces to give him an explanation within 3 days. Otherwise, he would come knocking on their door. His domineering attitude shocked everyone. Although the Chinese and the 7 immortal sanctuaries suffered heavy losses in this battle, they have a strong foundation. Their sects are also protected by the flawless emperor formation. Does Ling Xiao really dare to come knocking on their door? That's possible. Ling Xiao has many experts under his command. He even has dozens of heavenly masters. It's enough to wipe out an immortal sanctuary. After this battle, I'm afraid the Chinese and the 7 immortal sanctuaries won't dare to underestimate Ling Xiao. With this great victory, Ling Xiao has forged an invincible momentum. I'm afraid no one in the divine world will dare to challenge him. I'm afraid those who have offended Ling Xiao are now secretly regretting it. If this god of slaughter really comes knocking on their door, I'm afraid there will be a bloodbath. I wonder how the 8 superforces will deal with this. Everyone was discussing animatedly. At the same time, they were also paying attention to the 8 superforces' reaction. They wanted to know how the 8 superforces would deal with Ling Xiao's domineering attitude. The Chinese. He's gone too far. Does Ling Xiao really think that the Chinese are easy to bully? Quickly send a message to Ling Xiao. Ask him to release our old ancestor immediately. Otherwise, he'll die a horrible death. Among the Chinese, a few figures with terrifying auras opened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with rage. Old ancestors, our patriarch and 2 old ancestors have died in Ling Xiao's hands. Our old ancestor was even captured alive by Ling Xiao. We can't anger Ling Xiao now. Why don't we offer him some rare treasures and send someone to beg Ling Xiao to let our old ancestor go? That's the most important thing. Someone hurriedly advised. The Chinese were currently shrouded in a sorrowful atmosphere. When the news of the battle in the war god temple spread, everyone was shocked and furious. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that all the Hua powerhouses had been wiped out. Even the Hua imperial emperor had been captured alive by Ling Xiao. But when the Tiandu divine fiend flag flew back, more and more news came. Only then did they have no choice but to believe that this was actually true. The remaining celestial venerable ancestors of the Hua clan were infuriated. They wanted to kill Ling Xiao to avenge the deaths of their clansmen. However, there were also people who were extremely clear-headed. They felt that Ling Xiao's momentum was already set and could not be stopped. They had to give in to Ling Xiao, and saving the old ancestor was the most important thing. In the forbidden area of the Chinese, their spiritual wills were intertwined. Finally, they reached a consensus and began to send their envoys to the war god shrine. Apart from the Chinese, the reactions of the other 7 immortal holy lands were also different. Some of the immortal sacred grounds were completely terrified by Ling Xiao. They didn't dare to make an enemy out of Ling Xiao anymore. After hearing Ling Xiao's 3-day deadline, they panicked and sent envoys to the war god hall in an attempt to resolve their grudges. There were also some immortal sacred grounds. Although they were wary of Ling Xiao, most of them were furious. Moreover, they felt that Ling Xiao couldn't possibly break their sect's flawless emperor formation, so they decided to defend their sect and expressed an incomparably unyielding attitude. The entire god realm had become turbulent with undercurrents. War God Shrine. The battle that shocked the entire divine realm had ended. Countless mountains within 100,000 miles of the war god shrine were turned into dust. The grounds sank and turned into a vast ocean. Although the war god shrine's disciples had cleaned up the area, the air was still filled with a thick smell of blood. There were even powerful Tao marks imprinted on the mountain rocks, causing the laws to intertwine as if forming a deadly domain. This battlefield seemed to have become a natural barrier for the war god shrine, preventing the powerhouses of the divine realm from spying on them. Above the war mountain, a sea of clouds drifted. The round moon in the sky was as bright as a silver plate, sprinkling down cold light, illuminating the peak of the war mountain like a paradise. At this moment, bonfires were lit on the war god shrine's peak. Many of the higher-ups of the war god shrine had gathered at the peak of the war god shrine, sitting around a stone table filled with all kinds of delicacies and rare fruits. Everyone was drinking and chatting happily. Lu Bai, Celestial Sovereign Zhan Feng, Pangu Celestial Dipper, Lu Wenjing, and the others were among them. The white dragon horse and the old goat had their arms around each other's shoulders. Each of them held a wine jug and were drunk. Their eyes were rolling around as they whispered to each other. No one knew what they were thinking. Taoist Wu Yang was handsome and elegant. He looked like an expert who had achieved the Tao. At this moment, he was holding Yi Qingqing's hand and reading his palm. Yi Qingqing's eyes were sparkling. His handsome face was flushed because of the alcohol. At this moment, he was chatting happily with Taoist Wu Yang. Yi Liangchen was also trying to please Yi Qingqing. However, he was ignored by Yi Qingqing. This made Yi Liangchen extremely depressed. Long Outyen by Han Song and the others were having a drinking competition. They were all drinking happily and were extremely excited. Ling Xiao was carrying little Changxing, sitting between Jin Se and Shui Wei. He was feeding Changxing fruits while chatting with Jin Se and Shui Wei. Everyone seemed to be drunk. After the intense battle, everyone was extremely relaxed. Moreover, many of them were old friends who had not seen each other for a long time. Now that they were reunited after such a long time, they seemed to have a lot to talk about. Ling Xiao, if no one from the immortal sacred grounds comes in 3 days, are you really going to ask for forgiveness? Dugu Qiubai held a crystal glass and filled it to the brim. He walked over and raised his glass to Ling Xiao. That's right. If they are sincere enough, I can let bygones be bygones and write off all the grudges in the past. However, if they don't show any sincerity, I can only ask for forgiveness. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a sharp glint in his eyes. Ling Xiao, the Chinese and the immortal sacred grounds are extremely powerful. They were able to win today's battle because they were too careless. If you ask for forgiveness, I'm afraid they will do you harm. Dugu Qiubai said slowly. Are you talking about the flawless emperor formation or the emperor's will? Don't worry. If they really dare to take it out, they can't blame me for starting a war of extermination. Ling Xiao said faintly. Oh, it seems like you know about it. That's right. A flawless emperor formation is already difficult to deal with. However, once the emperor's will is awakened, it will possess the strength of a great emperor. This is the true strength of the immortal sacred grounds. Although they won't use it easily, they won't hesitate to use it if you push them too far. Dugu Qiubai nodded and warned Ling Xiao seriously. End of chapter. Chapter 2843. A flawless emperor formation contained the power to destroy the world. Once it was activated, the emperor's aura could even kill an imperial emperor. As for the emperor's will, it was formed from the energy left behind by the emperor. Although it was only a one-time use, it was extremely terrifying. It was comparable to an awakened emperor and could unleash the power to destroy the world. Dugu Qiubai was most worried about the emperor's will. They won't dare to use the emperor's will easily. Moreover, even if they use the emperor's will, I have a way to resist it. However, if the emperor's will can't kill me, we'll be mortal enemies. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Ling Xiao said slowly. Good lad, you're right. The Chinese and the 7 immortal sanctuaries are not good people. Haven't they bullied the combat god temple over the years? This time, we'll let them know how powerful we are. If they don't admit their mistakes, we'll go to them and punish them. Celestial Master Zhanfeng also came forward with a big wine jar and sneered. The combat god temple doesn't want to start a war, but we're not afraid of it. They should have thought of the consequences when they sent their experts to the combat god temple. Junior Marshal Uncle, I support you. If you want to fight, you'll have to beat them until they're afraid of us. Lu Bai said in an unyielding manner. Although they had won the battle, if they had lost, Ling Xiao would have died and the combat god temple would have been wiped out. Since they were already mortal enemies, there was no need for him to show any mercy. If that's the case, it's up to them to decide. Ling Xiao, if you need me, I can accompany you to kill the immortal sanctuaries and punish them. Dugu Qiubai said seriously. Thank you, Senior Dugu. I'm already very grateful that you've come this time. However, don't worry. If they really want to punish us, the experts under me are more than enough. Ling Xiao said with a smile. This time, Ling Xiao was very grateful to Dugu Qiubai for coming to his aid. This included Yi Liangchen, Yi Qingqing, Extermination Tao Lord, and the others. They weren't aware of Ling Xiao's trump cards, Yet they'd still chosen to lend him a hand under such dangerous circumstances. Ling Xiao had to remember this kindness. Ling Xiao, the old goat and I have discussed it. Why don't we go to the 8 super forces and punish them directly? There's no need to give them 3 days. The old goat and I will sneak in and break their formation. I mean, we'll take their formation discs and flags. Then, we'll take their treasures and punish them. Let's destroy 8 super forces. All. The white dragon horse and the old goat walked up with their arms around each other's shoulders. Their eyes were filled with mischief as they laughed mischievously, too. Even if they're afraid of you now and don't dare to seek revenge, they won't let you go once they have the chance. If you don't kill the snake, it'll hurt you. Why don't you kill them all to prevent future trouble? The old goat sneered as if he wanted to see the world in chaos. These 2 guys were bold. They didn't mind watching a show. Now, they were instigating Ling Xiao to destroy the Chinese and the 7 immortal sacred grounds. Ling Xiao ignored them. His eyes suddenly fell on the sea of clouds in the distance. Rumble. Over there, the sea of clouds was ethereal. A handsome and elegant figure stepped on the moon. He had a faint smile on his face. He looked otherworldly like an immortal. Heavenly Venerable Jadesun? Junior Ling Xiao greets Heavenly Venerable Jadesun. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He recognized the middle-aged man in front of him. His face turned solemn as he cupped his hands and bowed to the middle-aged man. Jiang Yuyang, Heavenly Venerable Jade. He was once a peerless genius of the human clan. Now, he was one of the guardians of the human clan. His strength was monstrous and unfathomable. His cultivation had long reached the Heavenly Venerable realm. 200 years ago, during the battle at the Ling Xiao mountain range, Heavenly Venerable Jadesun and Heavenly Venerable Sloppy had helped Ling Xiao block many experts. Ling Xiao had always been grateful to Jiang Yuyang. It was just that he didn't have the chance to express his gratitude to Jiang Yuyang in person. He didn't expect Jiang Yuyang to come to the War God Temple today. Greetings, Heavenly Venerable Jadesun. Lu Bai and the others also recognized Jiang Yuyang, so they bowed to him. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. Please rise. Jiang Yuyang smiled. His smile was like a gentle breeze, giving people a very amiable feeling. He waved his sleeve and lifted everyone up. Jiang Yuyang? You haven't broken through to the Imperial Emperor realm yet. Looks like you've really lived like a dog. Something's wrong. You're about to break through? After Heavenly Venerable Zhan Feng saw Jiang Yuyang, he could not help saying with a sidelong glance. He and Jiang Yuyang were figures of the same generation. They were both proud sons of heaven back then. But Heavenly Venerable Zhan Feng had to admit that even he could only pale in comparison in front of Jiang Yuyang. The Jiang Yuyang back then was too dazzling. Brother Zhan Feng, long time no see. How have you been recently? Jiang Yuyang said to Heavenly Venerable Zhan Feng with a slight smile. Still all right. It's just that I didn't expect that you finally took the step. You've already wasted too much time. If my conjectures are right, your human sovereign great Tao is already perfected, right? Taking this step is the path of invincibility, a peerless imperial emperor. Wasting so much time, I also don't know if it's right or wrong. Heavenly Venerable Zhan Feng's eyes revealed a hint of complexity as he said. Whether it's a blessing or a curse, who can say for sure? Brother Zhan Feng, I came here this time to borrow Ling Xiao. I want him to stand guard for me. Jiang Yuyang said with a slight smile, looking very candid and confident. Stand guard? Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He also detected that Jiang Yuyang's current cultivation already reached the pinnacle of Empyrean realm. Furthermore, his body emitted a undulation that made Ling Xiao feel incomparably dangerous, his aura unfathomable. Jiang Yuyang was preparing to transcend the Imperial Lord tribulation and break through to the realm of Imperial Lord. It was just that Ling Xiao did not expect that Jiang Yuyang would actually come to find him to be a protector. Have Ling Xiao stand guard for you? No way. Old fellow, it can't be that you don't know that Ling Xiao is my human race's heaven's chosen son, right? He can't have any mishap. You're simply a hornet's nest right now. When transcending the tribulation, you'll likely attract countless troubles. With Ling Zhao's current cultivation, he's completely unable to deal with it. I can stand guard for you. Even if I have to risk this old life of mine for you, I won't hesitate either. After hearing Jiang Yuyang's words, Heavenly Venerable Zhan Feng's expression instantly changed and he flatly refused. P.S. There are only 2 updates today. Everyone, rest early. Tomorrow 4. End of this chapter. Chapter 2844. Ancestor, 200 years ago, Heavenly Venerable Jade Sun fought for me. It's only right for me to protect him. Why are you objecting? There was a hint of doubt in Ling Zhao's eyes. He didn't expect Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng to have such a big reaction. Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng and Jiang Yuyang seemed to be good friends. However, Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng immediately turned hostile when Jiang Yuyang asked Ling Xiao to protect him. Ling Xiao, it's not a problem to protect others. However, I'm afraid your life will be in danger if you protect this old fellow. Of course, I can't agree. Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng said seriously. Why is that? Not knowing that it was Ling Xiao, the surrounding people were also very confused. Ling Xiao, you might not know. Ever since the 9 thearchs of the human race hasn't produced another great emperor. This is also the beginning of the human race's decline. However, do you know what Jiang Yuyang was once called? He and the Great Void Emperor were both considered the most promising candidates to become the human race's 10th emperor. Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng sighed and said slowly, the human race's 10th emperor? Celestial Venerable Jade Sun is actually so monstrous? Celestial Venerable Pangu couldn't help but exclaim. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. He had actually heard Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng mention the Great Void Emperor. Ling Xiao was the successor of the Great Void Imperial Emperor and had obtained the Great Void Imperial Emperor's Great Void Heart Talisman scripture. He had also learned from Uncle Su that the Great Void Imperial Emperor was the most monstrous person 90 million years ago. He had once slaughtered great emperors with the creation Jade Butterfly as an Imperial Emperor. However, although Jiang Yuyang's cultivation was extraordinary, he was only a Celestial Venerable now. How could he be on par with the Great Void Emperor? Zhan Feng is right. Jiang Yuyang can indeed be on par with Master and be known as the human race's peerless duo. It's a pity that Jiang Yuyang might never be able to become an emperor. Uncle Su's voice rang in Ling Zhao's mind as if he had seen through the doubts in his heart. Jiang Yuyang's expression was calm and there was a faint smile on his face. However, when Celestial Venerable Zhan Feng mentioned the Great Void Emperor, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Ling Xiao also felt that Jiang Yuyang's gaze had paused on him for a moment. Could it be Jiang Yuyang can see the Great Void Emperor's legacy? Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Jiang Yuyang and the Great Void Emperor are known as the 2 peerless geniuses of the human race. You all should be very clear about the Great Void Emperor. He was already an Imperial Emperor expert 90 million years ago. He even defied the heavens and killed great emperors before. However, you might not be aware that Jiang Yuyang was already an Imperial Emperor expert 90 million years ago. He even has some connections with the Celestial Emperor. Empyrean Zhanfeng continued to explain. He was already an Imperial Emperor 90 million years ago. Why is he only at the Empyrean realm now? Could it be that something has happened? Everyone's eyes were filled with curiosity. They naturally knew of Emperor Taishu's name, but Jiang Yuyang and the others felt a little unfamiliar. It was as if he wasn't as famous as Emperor Taishu. Because Jiang Yuyang cultivates the great Tao of the human sovereign. He'd broken through to the Imperial Monarch realm 8 times. And his cultivation had fallen to the level of a mortal 8 times. He'd experienced countless dangers and tribulations, and he'd lived 8 lives. This is already his 9th life. Empyrean Zhan Feng looked deeply at Jiang Yuyang and slowly said, What? 8 lives? Broke through to the Imperial Monarch realm 8 times? Ling Zhao's entire body trembled. His eyes revealed a dazzling light. This news made everyone's entire body tremble. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Even Shui Wei's eyes flickered with light. Was there really a reincarnation cycle in this world? Even Shui Wei, who cultivated the great Tao of reincarnation and comprehended the origin of reincarnation, didn't dare to say it. Even great emperors probably didn't know. A person's death was like an extinguished lamp, returning to heaven and earth. Although a person had a true spirit, even if they died, their true spirit still existed. However, no one knew where the true spirit went to. Even great emperors didn't have reincarnation, let alone Jiang Yuyang. How did he do it? Although it's very hard for you to believe, it's the truth. Moreover, I'm afraid even Jiang Yuyang himself can't explain it. However, the main point is that he cultivated the human emperor's great Tao. 9 is the limit. This is his 9th life, so his imperial monarch tribulation is also the most difficult one. It concerns whether his human emperor's great Tao can be completely perfected. In his 8th life, which was 90 million years ago, when he was transcending the imperial monarch tribulation, he was besieged by imperial monarch powerhouses from the devil race, underworld race, dead spirit race, ghost race, and other foreign races. In the end, although he transcended the imperial monarch tribulation and became an imperial monarch, he died not long after because his origin was exhausted. Now you understand why I don't want you to protect him, right? Emperor Zhan Feng sighed softly and looked at Ling Xiao seriously. Emperor Zhan Feng is right. Ling Xiao, I won't force you. You don't have to think about anything because I helped you 200 years ago. Everything is up to you. Jiang Yuyang nodded, admitting it with incomparable calmness. Ancestor, I want to ask why those imperial monarch powerhouses wanted to kill Emperor Yuyang? Even if the devil race and the human race have enmity, the underworld race, dead spirit race, and ghost race shouldn't have too much enmity with the human race, right? Could it be because of the human emperor's great Tao that you mentioned? Ling Xiao looked at Emperor Zhan Feng and asked. You're right. The human emperor's great Tao is the Tao of providence of the human race. It's also the Tao of protection. He chose the human emperor's great Tao. Just like the 9 thearchs of the human race, he is the true emperor of the human race. He rules over billions of people and is the only master of the human race. After he becomes an imperial monarch, as long as the human race is still the epic lord, he can rely on the human race's providence to advance by leaps and bounds. He can even become an emperor. This is a complete great emperor's origin. Once he obtains it, he can replace it. Which imperial monarch can resist this temptation? Emperor Zhan Feng said slowly. In that case, I'm afraid that it's not just the devil race and the other foreign races' imperial monarchs. Even many powerhouses of the human race don't want Emperor Yuyang to break through to the imperial monarch realm, right? Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. He understood the meaning of Ancestor Zhan Feng's words. The current Emperor Yuyang was simply a ginseng fruit in everyone's eyes. All the imperial monarch powerhouses wanted to kill him, take his human emperor's great Tao, and even replace it. It turned out that it was because Jiang Yuyang's imperial monarch tribulation was too dangerous that Ancestor Zhan Feng rejected it. Ling Xiao, if it were anyone else undergoing the imperial monarch tribulation, I definitely wouldn't stop you from protecting them. However, Jiang Yuyang is undergoing the imperial monarch tribulation. When the time comes, there will probably be many imperial monarch powerhouses coming to kill him. With your current cultivation, it's too dangerous. You are the hope of my war god temple, and also the hope of the human race. I can't just watch you throw your life away. Emperor Zhan Feng said slowly. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.